Game time, Bryan. Your name's name that I gun. You need a way to the fire. Jaded with hammer stills gunned in the living room. Just a mailbag full, delivering letters. Now I'm dropping that fuel from the 9 to 5 to the Cowboys grind. Turn my voice into a platform. Game time, Bryan. Every snap, every play, break it all down. Blue and silver pride, yeah, I rep this town. From the news to the rumors, every hot debate. If it's Cowboys talk, man, I'm never late. They say America's team, yeah, the name holds weight. 5 rings deep, and we still chase 8. No matter win or lose, I stay locked in. Every game day is game time again. Game time, Bryan, put the star in the sky. Talking about the boys till the day I die. From the mail route grind to the YouTube fame. Now the whole world knows my name. Tune in, lock in, yeah, we going live. Cowboys Nation, yeah, we ride or die. Opinions fly, but the passion stays. Every day's game time. Press play. Dak takes the snap, Micah on the chase. Talking O-line, defense, who's making the plays? Trades, rumors, draft picks too. If it's Cowboys news, then you know I come through. No network scripts, just a fan with a voice. Doing this my way, yeah, that's my choice. Breaking it down for the real, no cap. If you're riding for the star, then you know where we at. They say America's team, yeah, the name holds weight. 5 rings deep, and we still chase 8. No matter win or lose, I stay locked in. Every day and day, it's game time again. Yeah, Top Bryan, put the star in the sky. Talking about the boys till the day I die. From the mail rail grind to the YouTube fame. Now the whole world knows my name. Tune in, lock in, yeah, we going live. Cowboys Nation, yeah, we ride or die. Opinions fly, but the passion stays. Every day's game time. Press play.
Leg nights, early mornings. Yeah, I built this up. Did it for the fans, never just for luck. One video turned into something real.
Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Game time, Bryan, otherwise known as the Mailman. Yo, in the house tonight with 2 of our 3 guests. We will bring in a 4th mystery guest later on in the show. But good evening, everybody. I will welcome him in here. He is the best. He's hysterical. Just watch this video. The one, the only, the longest reigning Giants content creator in the business. The one and only. You guys wanted him. You got him. Cop Pizzle's in the house. What's going on, brother? What's going on? Unmute.
He's not that bright.
There you go.
He doesn't even
well, listen, I've set it up to mute everybody because I got some people who come in with their shit on in the background. Sorry about that. Pizzle, what's going on, brother? What's going on?
All good. Thanks for having me. I am very bright, Mark. I'm very bright, actually. But nevertheless,
light, bright, and is white.
I'm excited for the draft this week. Obviously, all NFL fans probably are. And so, I appreciate Bryan for, allowing me to bless Mark Holmes tonight and bless Philly 500 with my presence.
Well, speaking of Philly 500, he's in the house. We'll let him get settled. But Mark, the Godfather, Mark is in the house, and Mark was just telling me a story. And Philly, welcome. Welcome, Philly 500. You're muted, so just to let you know, I mute everybody. So Mark was telling me something backstage about actually how you and Philly 500 met. Please tell everybody, Mark, before we start shooting daggers. Let's get the niceties out of the way. How did you guys meet?
Okay, actually, let me first say that we've had a jaded love story here, okay, with Michael Anthony's strap
The
that has
strap.
been, yeah, the strap that has
Cheesy
been
ass
the
strap.
contention of a lot of shit that has gone on that I had nothing to do with. But having my father recently pass and talking, of course, with the champ over there, he's, you
Yeah,
know,
we got to get to that
and the,
later.
the champ and everything
Can't
else. I
can't
had a
duck it.
shirt that was sent to me that literally somebody wrote in a note that it was my dad, and I got it the day after my dad died. And I'm kind of like, Philly, did you send that to me? He's like, no, but we had some real conversations and things, and I realized how good a friend me and Philly 500 are, or should I say, the champ. But I realized something really freaking amazing is the reason why Philly 500 and me got introduced is because of you, Pizzle. You doing that video that talked about there's a lot of YouTubers that are overrated, talking about me and Philly 500. And the two of us got together like, who the fuck is this idiot? Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to cuss. Who the hell is this idiot? Why is he calling us out? So that's how we actually all got together talking and stuff. So I owe you, I think I owe you
Wow. Wow.
for introducing me to Philly 500.
Your thoughts, Pizzle?
Well, this is just what I do. I mean, this is
Bring people
why
together.
I'm good for business. I'm the 60-minute man. This is just what I do. I've tried to tell Mark for years. I've tried to tell him for years that I'm just simply good for business. Okay. And he doesn't listen. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, look, I will say this. I think we all agree that the NFC East is the best division in football, right? When you think about history, tradition, everything that goes with it, okay? And we can all sit here and play pretend that, it doesn't mean anything each and every week when we play each other. We can all sit here and pretend like this weekend doesn't mean anything. But the reality is it means everything to all of us who are passionate about our teams within this division, right? The divisions like AFC South or NFC West wish they could have the history and this lifeblood that is the NFC East. And so, when Mark says that, I don't want any credit. I want it to have what we have here on YouTube that they have in real life, a rivalry. There should be a rivalry. Now, at the end of the day, we can have a heated debate and we can shake hands when it's all over with. It kills me to look at Philly 500 right now
Welcome, Philly.
as the champion. I mean, every day is a damn nightmare in an Eagles world. Let's just face it. Mark Holmes and I have something, or you too, Brian. We have something in common. We are looking up at the Philadelphia Eagles right now, and that sucks.
It's funny.
That sucks
because I was talking to Bad Dog, and Bad Dog, he hates the Eagles with a passion. I mean, he doesn't even have any sympathy. Like, I don't have a lot of family left on this earth, but what family I do have, they are Eagle fans, except my sister, all my in-laws and all that. They're all Eagle fans, and I'm happy for them. I really am. But speaking of Eagles, he's here, the man, the myth, the legend, Philly 500. Thank you. I don't think we've had you on since maybe right before the season last year. I wouldn't be the first to tell. I mean, I've seen you on chats and stuff. We poked fun, but congratulations, man, on another Super Bowl. As much as I hate to say that, it is awesome. Believe it or not, I don't know if Philly 500 would say that about the Cowboys, and I understand, but I'm actually okay with it now. We've had some time. The Super Bowl's in the NFC East. How does it feel to really dominate Patrick Mahomes? Obviously we're going to talk draft, but how did it feel to dominate Patrick Mahomes, leave no doubt, and it was a really stellar performance. And to Pizzle's point, it sucked watching it, but now that we've had it's some time, congratulations, man, congrats. You there? You got to unmute yourself. There you go.
Can you hear me
Yes,
now?
we got you, bro.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. All
so
right,
go
cool.
ahead. So we gave you flowers.
It
Congrats,
feels
man.
great.
And we're gonna get
Feels
you, but
great.
not yet.
Feels wonderful, you know? What can I say? The 2 Super Bowl rings I got to see, we beat Tom Brady and we beat Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes going for his 3rd. So, you know, that was one of those Super Bowls nobody could take from us. Nobody could say you were lucky or this play or this call. I mean, that was pure domination from beginning to end.
It was.
It felt good, man. You know, I thought the Eagles were hungry, man. Felt good about that game going in. I thought Kansas City, to them it was just here we go again, just another game. I don't think it's like the old Rocky. They didn't have the eye of the tiger. They weren't hungry.
Well,
we had the eye of the tiger that day.
I
That's all
told
can tell
Mark
you.
Philly. I told Mark, and right after the game, we would do live streams. I would do live streams, and I'm not just saying this. That Eagle team reminded me, and I know people will laugh. Oh man, you got to go back to the '90s. But I'm just telling you how you won the game. It reminded me of the '90s Cowboys because you didn't have to blitz. You got there with your front four. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's how you win. Anytime you can rush 4, drop 7 in coverage, it's going to be hard. And if you're getting home in doing so, which they tormented him, which is the blueprint for the Cowboys going forward, which is the blueprint for the Giants, you don't want to have to blitz. You want to make these quarterbacks. Most of them suck at these days. Be honest with you. Most of them, you put pressure on a quarterback in the NFL. Normally, it's good things are going to happen. So I just think that was the way. I mean, listen. They gave the MVP to Jalen, and that's great. I won actually some serious money because I knew that's what was going to happen. But I thought the defense is what actually won the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl. I mean, the defense was awesome.
Yeah.
Defense was awesome. But they do remind you of that 90s Cowboys.
That's
they're,
all
they're
I'm
built
saying.
similarly.
You know what I'm saying
Very,
when I say that.
very
right?
fast. They're very
It
fast
hurts.
defensively. Great off. I mean, I think that's the best offensive line I've seen since the 90s Cowboys, to be quite honest with you. And then you add the running back. And then you say, Hurts goes out, make the throws that you got to make when you have to make them, but he doesn't have to throw for 400 yards and
but most
5
importantly,
touchdowns.
Philly, he doesn't. I'm sorry, but I don't want to.
Doesn't turn a ball over.
Bingo. He doesn't give
I
7
know.
points to the other team. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't. I mean, but you know what I mean. For the most part, he's not going to lose the game for you, which is
right.
I mean, that's not. I mean, so to that.
Listen. I think you also people got to but I think people also have to recognize that he's built to play in big moments in big games. What you think of him as a quarterback and how he throws this, that, the other, he doesn't crumble under pressure. And he's been in 2 Super Bowls now where those were his best games of his career. So I think we got a guy who, if you build a good team around, he will win the big games for you. And I think he's got that clutch gene, and that's nice. Nice to have.
Mark, go ahead. Get in there. What do you think about that? I know we're getting the niceties. There's a price to pay for winning the Super Bowl. We'll get to it, but go ahead.
Did we come in here for an Eagles circle jerk?
No,
here?
I just wanted to. I hadn't talked to Philly. I
Hey,
hadn't talked to him. I've always
bend the
respected
knee,
him.
Mark. As Pizzle says, bend the
I
knee.
ain't bending.
You want me to say with an English accent? Bend the knee, Mark.
Jeez. Okay.
Bend the knee.
All right. Well, that's go ahead.
Bend the
then.
knee,
Go
old
ahead,
chop.
Mark.
Congratulations now.
I hadn't talked to.
But right
Philly.
now, everybody is 0-0. Okay, it's a new season. Now, you may say the Cowboys just suck and everything else, and they don't care about
They
winning.
do.
But they actually are trying to do some things. Now, do we
Coming
have a
for you, meat.
dysfunctional
Really?
owner
What things
in
are they trying to do, Mark?
here? I'm going to say we've had some underrated moves, like bringing in
Big
Dante
time.
Fowler with 10.5 sacks last year. We've had a lot of.
Would you let him go to begin with?
Well, because we're stupid. I didn't say that they were
Who's that?
genius,
Who we let go?
but they're at least trying to make up for the mistakes that they made last year. Unfortunately, we got to make up for the mistakes we made last year and continue to improve the team for this year. So, yeah, we've got a long ways to go. I'm not going to make any bones about it, but I can't say that the Eagles, that everything is going
Here's
to
the
go
deal.
exactly as last year. You're delusional if you think it is.
Pizzle,
I don't
get
think
in
I
here.
don't think it's going to go. I don't think it's going to necessarily go as last year. But you can't tell me that any of these teams are up to the Eagles where they're at right now. Even through the offseason, Eagles are still the best team in this conference, let alone maybe the NFL. So I don't know how you can say that they aren't.
You could have made that argument about San Francisco last year. And what happened to them?
San Francisco didn't win the Super Bowl.
No, but okay.
San Francisco had an injury. Okay, so we got to take in injuries for the Eagles. But, we'll ignore everybody else's dream. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But right now, where we sit, this is the best team in the league. And it's not even a close.
Truth be told, San Francisco had more lost games than anybody else. Cowboys were second. And you can see both of those teams went down. Injuries are a factor in the NFL. And in both of your Super Bowl years, your teams were really, really healthy, which is unusual. Now,
I would say this.
Having a longer season.
We weren't. No, that's not true. That's not true. In 2017, we lost our starting quarterback, our left tackle. We had injuries out the wazoo.
Okay. Not like we had this year. Not like this
year. We had more injuries than you had in 2017 than you had last year. We still won. Mark, we still found a way to win.
Bro,
come on, man! You're saying that if you guys didn't get injured, you were going to the Super Bowl.
I didn't say we were going to the Super Bowl.
Well, what are we talking about here?
Like we were.
You're talking about the chance.
Oh,
you're talking about the chance.
You know what, Dad? I'm trying to do better, Dad. I'm trying not to lose my cool and cuss this mother humper out, man. Okay. All right. Okay. As you always tell us about our dusty old rings and everything else, last year's over. What are we going to do this year?
Yeah, well, this is what I wanted to say. I'm hearing a lot of sweep. Eagles are going to sweep the division. I mean, Eagles have lost 5 big pieces. Okay, you're now in a position. Now you have draft picks coming up. You have 8 draft picks. You have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and 4 5s. So, I mean, you have 8 draft picks, but you lost 5 really good football players. I would say you lost the MVP of the Super Bowl in Josh Sweat. You lost Milton Williams. I'm not saying you're not going to be really good. I'm not even saying that you may not win a division. But this whole sweep BS, I think, is ridiculous. And this is where I want to
you never heard that come out. I never said anything about that.
No. And this is what I'm saying, Philly. Even back in the 90s, when we were winning Super Bowls, we always got our ass beat, whether it was the Giants or the Eagles. I've been at all the Eagles thumpings, at the vet. So, I mean, Pizzle, again, we're giving him his flowers, but it's over. He's picking 32 in the draft this year. Again, expound on what these guys are talking about regarding the Eagles and how far away are the Giants, Cowboys, and Commanders?
Well, let me just say this to Philly 500, and look, I have no leg to stand on because honestly, Philly took our guy Saquon and went off and won a Super Bowl with. I mean, it's embarrassing, quite honestly. The Eagles took advantage of 2 crappy organizations in the Titans and Giants and got 2 great players in A.J. Brown and Saquon and have elevated their team with that. In saying this, I will say that as you mentioned, I've been here for a long time. I watched the Giants win a Super Bowl in 07, 08, and then 11 and 12. And, the Eagles have kind of done that in similar years, right? When you have a really good team, can that really good team rattle off a couple Super Bowls, if not a few Super Bowls? The Giants were able to do that at one time, and then we've went downhill since that time. We had a few years we kind of fought, and then after 2016, we have been a dumpster fire. The Giants have. So I will warn Philly 500, even though I don't have a leg to stand on, I will warn Philly 500 that the good times may be good now, but the bad times could be also just around the corner. Let the Giants be an example to you, Philly 500, of that. And I would argue that the Cowboys experienced that in the mid-90s to early 2000s.
I thought it was going to go on forever, Pizzle.
I did
thought
too.
It was going to go on forever. And then all of a sudden, in 2 seasons, it was gone.
Gone
So,
just like
I
that.
These
mean,
quarterbacks got old. I mean, Eli was older, and Jalen is in the prime square. I'm not disagreeing. Our windows don't last
that's
forever.
all I'm
But I
saying,
think
Phil.
all I'm saying to you guys is that the Eagles' window is open now. I'm not saying that they're going to repeat. It's very hard to repeat. I get it, but this is still a very good team. If you want to talk about the guys that we lost, I can make an argument that we've already got backups for over half of them, except for two. So,
But I would also argue.
I think
Philly.
Yeah.
I would also argue that the Eagles have taken advantage of a piss poor division for the last few years. The Giants have been piss poor. Washington just now got their shit together last year. And
that
the
may
Cowboys.
Be true. But that may be true, but they're still piss poor. I don't know. The Giants, or what the hell are you guys even doing? What are you even doing? Why would you keep that GM, right? And then try to build the team. You think he cares about your draft picks 2-3 years from now? He's trying to keep his job. I don't know what you're doing.
The seat is hot, Philly. Let's
start
is hot.
There, Pizzle.
The seat is
start
hot.
there.
Blame
Let's
him.
start with the Giants and what's going on. Because you started out. I'll let Pizzle and Mark go, but this is what's going on. From what I'm gathering, the Pizzle is there is a power struggle now. There's a power struggle with Joe Shane, right, and Brian Daboll. I'm telling you now that Joe Shane and the scouts want Shedeur Sanders. I'm telling you now that Brian Daboll, he likes big, mobile, opposite of Shedeur Sanders, okay? So there is a power struggle.
Okay.
Let's be honest. They're both on the hot seat, right?
Yes.
So anyway, just go with that.
Well, because when you have two guys on the hot seat, they're both pointing their fingers at each other, right? So I actually think there's three options for first of all, the draft starts at 3, in my opinion. Okay,
guaranteed.
Cam Ward is going 1, and I think Travis Hunter's going 2. Okay, and then I think the shit hits the fan at 3. So to me, I think there's 3 options. Number 1, you take the son of probably the greatest Dallas Cowboy of all time, in Shedeur Sanders. Deion Sanders, in my opinion, is probably the greatest Cowboy to ever live. And so he's obviously Cowboys royalty. And, that would be weird to have Cowboys royalty on the Giants, right? So the Sanders family would then now be New York Giants. I think that's an option. And I think I agree with you that Joe Shane and company probably like him. The alternative of nobody gets what they want, but we just potentially take maybe the best player in the draft, Abdul Carter, would be, I think, the pick that the group would make that wouldn't make anybody mad, right? That would be the neutral pick. He could be the best player. Maybe he is Micah Parsons again. I don't know. That's an option. I think that the league now is in a situation where pass rushers are the best players on the field, right? They are the best players. They wreak havoc. Philly 500 the Eagles are an example of this. They win the trench war each and every week, and maybe the Giants can create a massive advantage in the trenches on the defensive side. But the option number 3, and I think that this is starting to develop because you saw rumors today about the Giants fielding offers. I haven't said this into my I was actually going to make a video tomorrow, so you're getting it first from me, Brian. I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you right now. I think that Brian Daboll is fighting to get Jackson Dart. I personally like Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. I think he fits Brian Daboll's system. I don't think Shedeur fits Brian Daboll's system. Brian Daboll wants to run the RPO game. That's what he wants. I think Jackson Dart can do that. I don't think Shedeur has that in his game. I think Shedeur is a more traditional pocket passing quarterback, whereas Jackson Dart can run, get outside the pocket, throw better.
He's a better
on
thrower
the
of the football. That's the bottom line.
I am a Jack, but here's the thing: if they take Jackson Dart at 3, then it's going to be hell over again, just like they did when they had Daniel Jones at 6. So what I think could be developing here is you see the Giants potentially dropping back, right, acquiring some more assets, and then getting their quarterback. Where they would go, I don't know, right? because there has been some rumors that some teams want to come up and get the running back from Boise State. Maybe there's somebody that really likes. Maybe somebody really likes Sanders, right? Shador. Maybe somebody really likes Will Campbell, the offensive tackle. Abdul Carter. Yeah, Abdul Carter. Someone maybe like him. I think that you could see the Giants back up out of 3, take Jackson Dart, acquire some more assets, whatever round that would be, and there you go.
What if I told you this? And late news yesterday, a little bird landed on my shoulder. This is what's going on. Like I said, the whole power struggle is real. I believe they will take Abdul Carter with the third
I do
pick.
too. I ultimately think that will happen to you.
You know what rumors that is? You know what rumors are flying off that? I'm just going to put it out there.
Who's that?
Just because Thibodeau to the Eagles.
Well, here's the deal, Pizzle.
Watch out.
Right now, the Giants are talking to the Steelers, who don't have any draft picks. They don't have a third-round pick.
Yeah.
The Giants at 34 are talking to the Steelers.
I don't think the Steelers have a second-round pick, do they?
I'd have to look. But
I don't think that.
Here's the deal. Here's what I'm hearing. Giants, because Jackson Dart is not going to New Orleans. It is on. They are going defense, and I just want everybody in this draft to know defensive ends are going to fly off the board. It is going to be a defensive first round. Like I originally mocked the Eagles, maybe Pierce dropped to them.
No, it ain't happening.
Is skunked. Scorton, who I hate.
They're going to be all gone when we pick. I agree.
I do have a good player that I know you guys are going to take. But getting back to the Giants. I know who I'm taking. 34 to 21. Just remember I told you that. They're going to go from 34 back to the Steelers. Now, I had them going for Shador. I had them going with Abdul Carter. The Saints are not going quarterback. The Saints are going defense. Saints want a replacement for Cam Ward. They want a Cam Ward type body. There's plenty of them. Shamar Stewart, Michael Williams, whoever's there, that's who's going to get it. But I think the Giants are going to find their way back at the top, get the fifth-year option, and get their choice of Shador, who I mocked him, but it makes a lot of sense if you're telling me he loves Jackson Dart that much. What if I told you that you got Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart? How would you feel about that?
I'll be honest. And you can see my demeanor right now. I'm being open and honest. Like I am. Well, no. If I am a little bit shell shocked by the last couple of years. Be honest with you, as a fan, right? I'm a little bit. My cage has been rattled, and I've had a rough time, right? And so, if you give me Abdul Carter and you give me Jackson Dart, or even if you give me Shador, right? I don't hate
either
Shador.
one.
I don't hate Shador. I've already going into the season realizing that Russell Wilson is probably my starting quarterback week 1, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe there's a chance that Winston gets him, but I still think we're gonna play a veteran quarterback week 1. So with that being said, if you give me Dart and Abdul Carter, I will have life again in my soul, right?
But I think that's Joe Shane's power plays. Like, I gave you Abdul Carter, now I'm taking my guy, Shador Sanders. But even if it's Dart, like one of the two, I would think that would be good. Now, again, I mean, and, I think that's good. Now, Philly.
And if they come out with no quarterbacks, then what?
Well, again,
let me say this. Let me say this, Brian.
For years.
Let me say this, Brian. I disagree. Look, whether you want to admit it or not, quarterbacks come and go, and they emerge each and every year in the NFL draft. If the Giants don't have a guy that they really like, I don't think they should force it. We need stars. No, I'm not saying. I'm talking about.
Ahead.
I've heard Milroe, right, in the second round, the Alabama quarterback, and some people have said, well, he might be like Jalen Hurts. That would be
scary, though.
I think he can run. I think he can run great. I don't know how well he can throw, honestly, in the NFL. So, look, I don't think the Giants at the end of the day
said the same thing.
At the end of the day, the Giants need to acquire talent and not just a quarterback for the sake of getting a quarterback. They need talented players. They need dogs on this team. And look, if we get Carter, that would be nice to have this potential scary pass rush. I have heard Eagle fans, and Philly, I haven't heard him say this, but I've had Eagle fans say, "Oh, I can't wait to see who the Giants are going to draft for us at number 3." So I've already heard all the chirping. They're feeling fantastic right now. I get it.
They're the
We're
Super Bowl
embarrassed.
champs, man.
So Brian, finish answering your question. I just want the Giants to get some talented players this weekend, and let's just go have some fun again, and let's go compete. That's really all I can say about this weekend.
I will say this, though, about the Giants. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark, but I just want to say this one thing. The Giants could complain. You could complain about the Giants not having talent. Maybe they just don't know how to develop it, because Barkley is just a running back in New York, and then he goes and he has the greatest running back you've ever seen in Philly. Azeez Ojulari coming in, double-digit sacks this year in Philly. You watch.
And let me say this, Philly. Let me say this, and I will eat crow. I will eat crow for this. Not a lot of content creators will do this. I thought Saquon's better days had went. I truly did.
I did too.
I thought he was done. When he showed up in Philly, I said they're not getting what they think they're getting. Well, clearly I was wrong. And I got a pie in the face, and you got a Super Bowl out of it. And so
what you saw, Pizzle,
it kills me.
Running behind a dominant offensive line. That's what you saw.
Do you guys
from a garbage ass one?
Do you guys know that the last 5 Super Bowls has had a Giants first round pick in it in the last 5 Super Bowls? Did you know that?
No, wow.
Saquon Barkley, OBJ, Kadarius Toney, JPP.
Wow.
But
that's crazy.
That's crazy. I'll point out one thing that nobody is really talking about. If you draft Shedeur Sanders, the minute you lose a game, it's going to be like Mike McCarthy all over again. It's going to be they need to fire him and bring in Deion as the coach.
Mark, that's the smartest thing I have ever seen you say since I've ever seen you on YouTube. And I agree with you on this, Mark, because that is the biggest fear to me about Shedeur Sanders. And I let me say that I have fallen victim to loving me some Deion Sanders. I did not like him as a child because he was obviously a Cowboy and he was very good and he tormented me as a fan of the Giants. But as I've gotten older, I respect him as a father. I respect how he goes about his business. I love the charisma that he carries. Right, the way I just like me. I like Prime. I really do. But I can tell you that I think any team that Shedeur goes on, if they have any failure whatsoever,
it's gonna be over and over.
It's gonna be ESPN is going to be pounding the fuck. Sorry, it's going to be pounding the rock
world because we can't fart without ESPN blowing it up times 10.
They're going to be pounding the rock on Prime going to whatever team he's on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I look, I don't want that because as much as I love Prime and I love his style and I love how he is, I don't think he would make for a good NFL coach. I just don't. I think he is an okay collegiate coach. I'd love to see him do great at Colorado. I just don't see him being a quality NFL coach. And Deion can also tell everybody, "Oh, I'm not going to the NFL. I'm not going to." The temptation to coach his son in the National Football League, any father would take that on.
Philly 500 would love Deion to coach the Giants. Philly 500 knows that. Back when Irvin was laying on the field, I was there that day. We talked about it. Eagle fans were not booing Irvin being down. Who were they booing, Philly?
They were not. Deion Sanders.
Doing this shit.
Deion Sanders doing his dance thing around them. Yeah, exactly right.
So
that's exactly right.
Mark Holmes, this goes back to you, your college football teammate. We didn't win as much as Deion was good. To Pistol's point, obviously, Deion was very good. We didn't win a Super Bowl because of Deion Sanders. We won because of one guy.
Came for the last one.
Charles Haley. That was why we won.
The last one. Charles came there, and that was the power shift from San Francisco to finally the Cowboys getting over the hump.
Right.
And, and as much as I hate the Eagles, that front that they have is just unbelievable on the offensive line. And, it makes everything that much better. I envy what the Eagles have done. I wish that we were good enough to go ahead and say, hey, let's take our center who's only been here for 3 years and get him locked up instead of doing like we've done with Tyler Smith. basically saying we put the 5th-year option, and nobody believes he's going to get paid before training camp next year.
You haven't even paid Micah yet.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff.
Ridiculous.
No, but see, but the thing is by doing what the Eagles just did right there, they had waited till next year, which they could have. You're going to be paying $5 million more for that guy. And you think about every single one of those guys that we do that to, between Dak, CD, Micah, that's $15 million right there that you could be spending on a couple of other guys that make your roster better. The Eagles have recognized it's better for us to sign these guys early, and we're signing to a contract in today's dollars, but we're actually not going to pay them until tomorrow when those dollars are
Howie
swallowed.
Roseman has come a long way from the broom closet.
He's a freaking genius.
Listen,
it's unbelievable.
Philly, I met Howie Roseman early on at the Models. It's not even open anymore in Berlin, New Jersey. It was early on.
Yes, I used to go there.
Tenure,
I used to work right near there.
Howie walked in, and I was talking. I had my Dallas shit on, and he was, he was a great guy, but he was kind of like a laughing stock. And then Chip Kelly came in, and he was put in a broom closet. The one thing I can say about Howie Roseman, I think he's the best pro personnel guy, and he's turning into a good drafter. Just how he goes up and down. I actually think, and I'm sorry, everybody wants him to be mean, but they're the Super Bowl champions. There's only so much we can shit on the Eagles. It's not much right now. But Howie, actually, I think he broke the record.
Shit on him, okay.
Well, I would like to, but there's not many options right now. We got to give them their flowers. But Howie, I think, broke the all-time record for trades last year, moving around the draft, or the year before. I don't know. I think it was last year. And listen, as much as they only have 8 picks, they have 4 5s. They don't have a 6. They don't have a 7. Who cares?
We have 20 picks over the next 2 years.
Yeah. I just know that they're going to drop back and then pull back in. I mean, they're going to do something just because I feel like, I just feel gun shy.
I think they're going up.
Who are they going up for?
That'll depend on if anybody drops. I think if one of those defensive linemen, somebody could fall into, like, say, the early 20s, I think they move up. The reason I say they move up is this. 1, you got 20 picks in the next 2 years. And 2, everybody's trying to trade back.
Yeah.
So Howie tends to do what everybody else doesn't do. And if he finds that there's value in trading up because everybody's trying to move back, he will do it. So I expect the Eagles to move up. Now, I agree with you. I think the defensive line is going early. I think it's coming off the board. So I think that really when the Eagles are looking to move up, I think that and people disagree with me, but I think the value is going to be in a guy like Malachi Starks.
You don't have to trade up, dude. I just did a draft last night. He's going to be there at 32, and that's sick.
And I think he's the guy because that comes in and he goes right in CJ's spot. Boom, start. And I think that's where the value is going to be. Now, if let's say you're the Giants or one of these teams want to go up and get a quarterback and we stay at 32, well, if the offer is good enough, they might move back. I don't know, how he's going to play it.
If you're not going running back or quarterback, the 5th-year option isn't that big a deal, right? If it's a quarterback, if it's a running back, you want to run him into the ground and let him go. Don't pay him the 2nd year usually. Then fine with the 5th-year option, but. Yeah, I had them taking Malachi Starks. Again, when you really look into the draft and what everybody's hunting defensive tackles and defensive ends.
Yeah.
There's going to be a couple receivers. The offensive linemen are horrible this year. All these content creators saying, go get an offensive lineman. There's nobody close to Penei Sewell or your right tackle, Lane Johnson. There's nobody close to that. Nobody. Even Will Campbell is not that great, everybody. So,
I agree. I mean, I think they would love Walter Nolan, or I think they would love Pierce Jr.
Close to you.
But they're not going to be there. That's what I've been trying to tell people.
Yeah.
When Myles Garrett made $40+ million, okay, and then you still have Micah's contract has to drop. These teams want to get a pass rusher on a rookie deal. That's why the Giants may go take out Bill Carter at the end of the day. Because then you got him on a rookie deal instead of paying him $40+ million. I think the edge rushers go off the board really early. So I think safety's the move.
Well, I mean, like Pizzle, I've been saying, I got kind of shit on because I've always given the Giants more credit because I see their defense. I see, what they have. You put Abdul Carter opposite of Thibodeau. Now,
that's a nightmare.
I mean, do you think? And you got on the inside, you got arguably. I'm not saying he is, but arguably one of the best interior defenders on the inside. Are they really going to trade Thibodeau? I mean, you got Brian Burns though. You still got Brian Burns. Maybe you move him. I don't know, right? I mean,
I don't think they would trade. I think at least for this upcoming season, they would have all three. Thibodeau played a lot. Thibodeau actually had several snaps on the inside. I'm not saying he would move inside with Dexter Lawrence, but I think that they would create a package in which it would become interchangeable. I mean, the thing is you need to have those edge rushers, and you need to have them fresh and also healthy. This idea that your two edge rushers are healthy all year long doesn't even really exist anymore. You get guys. Look, this is becoming, the NFL schedule is becoming so long and so hard on these players that you're going to have a 1A and 1B at certain positions. I mean, you're seeing it now. Teams are putting emphasis on backup quarterbacks because they're playing so much. I mean, starting quarterbacks aren't even making it throughout the season. So this idea that you would only have two edge rushers on a team, I don't think is right. I think you're going to want 3, potentially 4 edge rushers. And look, I'm not saying that Kayvon would have still a future with the Giants, but I mean, you could maybe move on from him, but I don't think instantly this year they would move on from Kayvon. I will say this, like that draft they got with Kayvon draft, they drafted Kayvon and then Evan Neal, who has not panned out at tackle for us. So that was a Joe Shane draft that if they did move on from Kayvon, man, they really missed that one really bad.
Do you like Kayvon Thibodeau? Do you like him? Do you think he was?
I have always said that if you watch Kayvon in college, you were not going to get these big sack numbers. That's just wasn't his game. I knew what they were getting with Kayvon. The problem is a lot of football fans who say they're hardcore fans are really just casuals. And so they assume that somebody like, for example, Abdul Carter, they just assume that this guy is going to come in and be 11, 12 sack guy, right? And maybe he is, but some players, some edge rushers are just better playing, stopping the run. They're just better at containment. They're just big. They're just fast. They're not necessarily sack machine guys. Kayvon wasn't that in college. And so to me, like, I don't think he's not been a letdown because I expected what I've been given by Kayvon. He was gonna have. I knew he was going to get mad at the Giant fan base for chirping because he was mouthy in college, and I've pretty much got what I expected out of Kayvon. I'm not personally done with him. I've been a little bit after the Saquon thing and everything else. I've been kind of a little bit hush hush on saying that players are done because I've kind of learned my lesson on that. But it would be cool to get Carter and have a potential stronghold at the defensive line position, because I do think that even as bad as the Giants have been, Dexter Lawrence has been awesome for the Giants. He's been a monster.
Oh, yeah.
And so Dave Gettleman got a lot of shit for being a bad GM, but that was one move in trading for him and acquiring him that was really a right move for him.
Mark, get in here. I mean, we're talking – draft today, Jerry Jones rambling on at his, pre-draft presser. Then we get rumors that we got 2 trades, big trades on the board. We got other free agents in the building. What's your thought? Number one on who, I think I know who we're taking, but like Philly 500 said, we're all everybody's trying to bail because the strength of this draft is if you're not in the top 5, let's be honest. The strength is round 2, round 3, round 4.
Yeah.
Into the round 5. That's
10 to 40, you've got about the same type players.
So it's the perfect year to be drafting 32. Congrats. But
I'm hoping here's where I feel like if Genty starts to fall, if Genty gets past New England and the Raiders and starts falling, I think the Cowboys might consider trying to jump up and get him. Because I think they feel that strongly that seeing Saquon do what he did for the Eagles, that all of a sudden the Cowboys are going to want to get them. I don't necessarily agree with that. I would rather be able to move back, but you have to have somebody who wants to trade with you. Matthew Golden, he's a speedster and things, but I still would like to have that big possession wide receiver. I still need to have a guy who's in the red zone. Now, we heard the rumors today, although I don't think it would happen, is with Denver possibly Courtland Sutton there on the last year of his deal.
Yeah.
They may be looking and saying, okay, let's dump his salary. They can save if they trade him about $6 million for this year and possibly be able to move up. And we're hearing that they want to move up higher. That would not be a bad one if we were exchanging the number 20 pick with the 12 and we end up getting our possession wide receiver. Then we can go out and maybe get Hampton. Maybe he falls deep enough so we get the running back and the wide receiver and still have our second and third pick. I would love a scenario like that. Now, as far as trades go, Jerry Jones is getting us all, juiced up and ready to get.
I heard a rumor today. I don't know what you think.
Well,
I heard Jeffrey Simmons.
That wouldn't be bad, but I haven't heard that one.
I had some. Well, the Pizzle's in Tennessee. I mean, and he's on the trade block, so I've been saying his name for 2 years. That's
Good
what
player.
Dallas needs. Dallas needs an interior.
Good point.
There's somebody who's not Mozzie Smith.
Can I give you an outside perspective on Dallas?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You
Here
guys
we go. Go ahead and shit on
All
it.
right. No, I'm not gonna trash
put the
you.
poop emojis
I
in
don't
the
need
chat.
to. I'm just gonna say from like a enemy standpoint, my perspective, your offense has no explosion. It does
Thank
not
you.
scare me. Genty is the guy I do not want Dallas to get because I think he's an immediate impact player. I think the running backs he brought in are mediocre, and I think he would be a huge impact for the Cowboys. I do. I think it would be similar to what Ezekiel Elliott gave you early in his career. So I really think, like, to me, I want him going to the Raiders. I want him off the board before he goes to Dallas. I don't want him going to Dallas.
100%. We can't go into a season where it's just CeeDee Lamb.
Well, Mark, just talk about what we picked up this offseason. Everybody overlooks all the moves we did. I get it.
And that's fine. I would rather people overlook us.
I know, but
we're going to be good.
Everybody wants to hear the big splash name. But we got some young studs who haven't lived up to expectation, playing with a little bit of hunger. That's a good thing. They're not all going to hit, but I kind of like a lot of what they did. Why keep bringing in these older guys? Hopefully you can get another Hankins and all these guys. Give me a young guy who's fighting for his friggin' life. No, Mark? Go ahead.
Well, most of the guys, have been kind of underperforming for where they were drafted and things. And most of them are, of course, on a 1-year deal, which means if I'm going to be in the NFL, I've got to perform. When you had Dontari Poe and Hankins and things, those are guys that are like, we've already been there, done that. Let me get this last check before I go out. And you didn't necessarily get the best kind of players. But the Cowboys have been trying to basically go through and plug all the holes that we had. And we have a lot of holes. And I think what they're setting themselves up for is whatever the best player that is falling right there, that's who we're going to take. They ended up getting lucky with getting CeeDee Lamb. Nobody thought CeeDee was going to go there. And had they just taken the best player available, we would have been screwed. And the same thing with Micah Parsons. And when we've gone through and said, let's draft for a need, we get Tyler Guyton and Taco Charlton. And both of those guys, have not panned out. Guyton, maybe there's a chance, but I think they're worried about Guyton actually being good with all of the offensive tackles we're looking at right now.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
Can I bring up a point, Brian?
Yeah, get in there. Get in.
So, are you guys familiar? And I don't watch it, but are you familiar with the show Landman?
Oh yeah, love it.
Yeah, our own
Billy Bob.
Okay, so I know I want to. I'm assuming you guys saw the hospital scene with Jerry, right?
Yeah, he wasn't acting, Pizzle.
Okay. No, let me. I want to.
Go ahead.
So did you guys share that on your channels or anything?
We did.
Okay,
he did.
Cowboy fans.
So
20 videos a day.
Let me say this. I agree with you, Brian. There was no acting in that. That was real passion. That was a real man talking about something that was actually real to him. I think you guys, and with Jerry's age, and obviously it's starting to show, I think you guys are either about to be very dangerous or you're about to go downhill really fast.
6 wins.
Because I think Jerry is about to go all in and get crazy. I really genuinely do, because that man, in that particular scene appeared to me as a dangerous man. Does that make sense? A man, yes,
he's like a wildcatter,
yes,
oil
a
man.
a man that is got nothing to lose, Mark. And again, I understand that was a fake television show, but I don't think he was.
He ain't no actor, Pizzle.
They said, Jerry, go be Jerry.
He was talking
Jerry,
about
go be Jerry.
Yeah,
so with the draft coming up, right, this is a chance to make some wild things happen. And I think that you guys this offseason, is it fair to say that you guys have relatively been quiet?
No.
No, I think in the landscape, look at Philly. In the landscape of things.
You look at last year.
No,
listen, we were the last team to sign a free agent.
He don't mean quiet like that.
No,
Mark, you're right. Quiet.
I'm saying they've been quiet, Mark, in the term or the sense of the media and the nobody is really you guys get talked about so much during the season that it's rare that here we are in the offseason and nobody's really talked about the Cowboys. It's almost like you guys have been laying in the weeds, not saying nothing with a poker face, waiting to make that big move. And I
think they fell asleep.
No,
maybe they have.
There's a change that has happened, okay?
But do you not agree with me, Mark, that I really feel like you guys are laying in the weeds, and there might be something really big coming here, and it could come this weekend?
It may, but see, I'm going to say that the Cowboys got high on their supply because for 3 years they literally did absolutely nothing in free agency. They did more deconstructing than they did building up. I mean, letting guys like Cedric Wilson and letting go Amari Cooper and stuff, not re-signing Randy Gregory. You did not see the Cowboys do anything that was Eagle-like to build a team. But yet somehow they were always 12-5. And they got to the point where it doesn't matter what we do, we're the Cowboys and we're going to be in the playoffs. And then this year, all hell broke loose after Jerry Jones saying we're all in. And then I think that they thought that they had Mike McCarthy, who was going to be their little bitch, that he was going to come back and he was going to be the whipping boy. And then as they went around and they're talking to people, that all of a sudden they realized nobody wants this shit sandwich. We are not relevant anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Mark, is that
obviously
they're
trying to do something about it.
Obviously, when you fired McCarthy, there was some noise there. But since that moment, you guys have been super quiet. And I think it's been on purpose. I genuinely do, because I think you guys are looking to make a big splash. And again, I think Jerry is the head of the snake here because he's a desperate man that wants to make something happen. And the fact that you guys haven't really done anything and have been quiet, I think makes you dangerous. Now, could this turn you around in a good way? Yes, but also dangerous in the sense of this could go south for you guys too, right? So it can go either or. But I am, to me, going into this weekend, I have my eyes on the division, on the Cowboys more than any other team in this division. Because obviously the Eagles can only do so much because of where their draft positioning lies, right? I think even Philly 500 would agree with that. They're going to get players, but this is what this league is, right? When you do well, you get put in a position where you're at a disadvantage in the draft, right? Unless you want to actually trade assets. The Cowboys, on the other hand, again, I'm just keeping my eye on them because I'm very interested to see what Jerry Jones, not their coaches, not anybody else, what Jerry Jones does this weekend.
But here's one thing I'm going to let you know, though, is this year at that press conference where Brian Schottenheimer was introduced was the first time you saw the title for Stephen Jones change to co-owner. He used to be executive VP, but now all of a sudden he's co-owner. And I dare say he is running the organization a lot more than he used to. For Jerry Jones not to talk at the combine, where he's usually on the bus saying stupid shit like we're going all in and everything else, he didn't have a press conference. Until today, you really did not see Jerry Jones being out there. And the Cowboys have been going about business like an NFL team as opposed to being a circus this offseason.
That's proven my point. That's proven my point, yeah. Mark. Is Jerry Jerry makes a lot of noise, right? I mean, that's what he does. He puts himself out there. He puts him. I mean, and look, I've said 100 times now that I shouldn't knock Jerry Jones, because honestly, if I was Jerry Jones, I'd probably be exactly like he is as an owner. I think all of us would be. All of us supposedly love our team so much, just like Jerry loves the Cowboys. All of us would want to make decisions. All of us would want to say. All of us would put ourselves out there, because obviously we put ourselves out there here on YouTube, right? So I think we would all be Jerry Jones if that was the case. Billy, go ahead, Bill. I know you're going to say something.
I know. I have a question for you. I'm just curious what, like, you say you're watching them, and I kind of agree with you. Like, keep an eye on them, but like, what kind of move are you expecting? Something to immediately get them better now, or something like trading for Shedeur Sanders?
Okay, I think
something like that.
I'm not saying Shedeur. No, I'm not saying that. But you brought up Gentry, right? You brought up him. And I agree.
Yeah, I think that's the guy.
That's dangerous, right? That's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
If you give Dak a legitimate running game, then and a guy that's very good, Jerry Jones, to me, and again, going back to Mark saying co-owner Steven, I think he understands that he is on the very end of the back nine here, right? I don't wish any man to go, to head to the grave anytime soon, right? But Jerry understands his age. He's a smart man. He's been a smart man for many years. He obviously has made a ton of cash, so he's got to be somewhat smart. The reality here is Jerry knows that he is running on borrowed time in some sense. So why would he not sell the farm and go get a guy like that? Why would he? To me, it's someone's told him, "Hey, listen, Jerry, just shut the hell up." Right? We don't need you. We don't need you ruining our draft plans for potentially a huge splash. So what I'm saying is, Philly, is maybe the Cowboys don't do nothing, right? Maybe they stay and they say, you know what, we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing and just keep rowing the boat. Or what if on draft Thursday night, all of a sudden, here comes the Cowboys moving up, and they just sold the farm to go get so and so. Because Jerry is desperate and he's been waiting to make this move, and now he's going to go out and get his last great guy.
They did say that they are hot on Travis Hunter, but
I agree.
They're hot on what now? What'd you say,
Travis Hunter, but
everybody is.
I know, but
dude, you need Genty. I'm telling you, that's the pick.
I don't even know that. Man. I mean, I love Genty.
That's the pick.
I made a mock a couple weeks ago, and people laughed at me. Now all of a sudden, yesterday, he's rumored to be going number 5, Genty. I'm like, yeah, I said that 2 weeks ago because, and all of a sudden, ETN is on the trade back. So, the Jags are looking at Genty right now, and that's going to kill.
Would there be any? And to bring up the point of Prime being an NFL coach, would there be any reason why you guys in particular would draft Shiloh late in the draft?
Yeah, we got 3 7s, right, Mark? Well, I don't care. He plays
special
teams.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if he's on the Cowboys.
Let's be honest, Pizzle. We got a coach who I like. He comes from pedigree. But as far as Schottenheimer, but he's unproven. He could go like you said it. You guys are saying it right. Everybody that's underselling the Cowboys, okay, good. I like it, right, Mark? We like it. We could be back to winning. We have a tough schedule, maybe 10, 11, and in the playoffs, or we could have 4 or 5, and it's gonna in large part, it's gonna be part of what happens over the next month from today. Like, I think Pizzle's right. I think that they are about to do something. They're rumoring 2 trades, and they're talking small trades. What are those trades? Is that like Tyreek Hill, or is that? I mean, I don't know. I don't want Tyreek Hill, but I'm just saying there is something on the horizon. I don't believe they're moving up, Pizzle. I will tell you that.
Well, I just feel like, and going back to Philly 500 and his Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman's name is out there for being great, right? So if you're a general manager and Howie Roseman calls you, you second guess, like, wait a minute, this guy's clearly smart. I don't know if he's about to fleece me. So maybe I don't do a deal with him. But Jerry, on the other hand, gets talked about how bad he is, right? And Jerry calls you and says, hey, I'm off. And then all of a sudden Cowboys are jumping on that.
Yeah, well, this goes back to last season, Philly, when Jerry Jones, he likes to walk the red carpet on the field, He likes to talk his shit, right? And he
Yeah.
was
Cop-
getting,
Fingers and everything.
he was getting punked out. He didn't even know he was getting punked
I
at the
know.
link. They were laughing.
Oh,
Eagle
that
fans
was
were
bad.
cheering. They were saying, "Thank you. Keep up the great work, Jerry." And he didn't.
Yeah.
He
Didn't
didn't really
realize
know
that they
what
were
was
fucking
going on, but he did when he went back to the Star. And
Right.
they went and told him, "Say no, Jerry. They're laughing at you. They're laughing at
Yeah.
you because." This is what you've won 3 playoff or maybe 4 playoff games since their last Super Bowl. You know, they're laughing at you because you're more worried about selling T-shirts and jerseys than putting a winner in the playoff. And we can argue about whose fault and how we got there. And I think Jerry's tired of hearing the bullshit. So, but I wanted to bring up just a quick rumor, and it's not really a rumor. It's not going to come to fruition. I'm just going to say because he's going to be gone. But there was a serious rumor, and I know a lot of Eagle fans hate this, but the Eagles were in talks to move up to number 4 with New England. Now, I know Philly.
Yeah.
If I know Philly, he would hate it. But A.J. Brown,
I don't. Yeah.
it was real, but I don't think they would ultimately pull the trigger because of the fan reaction. They want to.
I don't do.
Anyway, go ahead. It was the Eagles that jumped to number 4. Eagles would
Right.
get Abdul Carter, but in doing so, they would have to give up A.J. Brown and more.
Yeah.
So
That's a lot.
And the 32nd pick.
right.
Move 30
No,
to, oh, no way. That would
No,
cost
this-
you
this
like-
is-
hell
But
no.
I like the idea
This
of
whole
Abdul
AJ
Carter,
Brown,
though.
the whole AJ Brown. Oh yeah, I like Abdul Carter too.
I'm
But
just saying.
AJ Brown just signed a contract. He's there till 2029 through 2029.
They're trying to trade every one of our players you just signed, and that's why I was.
But I mean,
breaking
one,
your balls
you
in the
couldn't do it.
Danzilio.
Yeah, you
You
couldn't
know?
do it because of the cap, right? The cap number would be
That's what
too
I
hard
told
to do
you when
anyway.
you were saying Dallas is going to. I forget who it was when you and Mark.
Right,
were on
But
dates.
it was
And I'm like,
Dak. It was Dak Prescott.
It's not going to happen this
yeah,
year. It
yeah,
can't physically happen.
No,
That's all
but
I was saying.
you know, I gotta
You were
bust
fucking-
the balls.
Yeah, you were.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
what
know,
were
you
doing.
know what I'm doing.
I
You
know
know
what you were
doing.
doing, but I had to
You
call
know
you
where
out
I'm
on
from. I gotta do it.
yeah.
But you know, the AJ Brown thing, it drives me nuts because the Eagles aren't going to do that. You know, a couple days before that, we had a rumor that the Eagles were going to trade Devontae Smith for Jalen Ramsey. Now, why on earth would the
That's a
Eagles trade
stupid
for
one.
Jalen Ramsey
Yeah.
when they don't even Ramsey don't even like Vic Fangio? He was one of the guys that ran him out of Miami. I mean,
People don't look at the.
Yeah. To me,
all
I'll
the
tell you this. I
connecting dots.
straight up, if the Eagles made that trade, then I'm going to come on here and tell you the NFL's fixed. Because the Eagles would single-handedly have just destroyed one of the better Super Bowl teams I've seen in a long time. This comes after the NBA has Doncic go to the Lakers, right? And you can't tell me that was not the most fixed thing ever. So I just would have no faith in the sport anymore, something like that. That's how ridiculous I think it is that would happen.
To get there, remember when you guys moved up for Carson Wentz, you traded with first, was it Tampa? To get to like Tampa's 13th, and then you traded.
I don't remember who it was.
But you did 2 trades to get up there.
Two trades, yeah.
You traded first with Tampa to get to like.
And then we traded with Miami. We traded with Miami.
Right.
Was
the
one
amount
of the
of
teams. And then we went up.
To get from 32nd.
Yeah.
I mean, San Francisco gave up 2 number 1s and a 3 to go from 12 to 3 to get traded.
Yeah.
Which they
What do the Patriots want with AJ Brown? They're not
anywhere
near
close.
winning a Super Bowl right now. They need talent. They should be drafting Abdul Carter.
Well,
Are you
it's
kidding?
the Vrabel connection.
I know
Yes,
it's the connection.
yes.
Vrabel and he was a
Vrabel never
Patriots
wanted
fan. He
to
was a
get rid
Tom
of
Brady fan growing up. Yeah, I get it, but it ain't
It's not
happening.
going to happen because Abdul Carter's not going to be there. Number one. Number two.
No, I mean, look, I love Eagle fans love Abdul Carter because he's an Eagle fan. He's an Eagle fan
Plus
growing
Penn
up,
State,
so they love him, but he's not going to be there, you know.
Oh.
And hopefully he doesn't go to. I don't care if he goes to the Giants. Giants don't scare me. Sorry, Pizzle, but you know you could stack all the first round picks at your edge. It don't matter. You know, say hi to Russell Wilson. Let me send him a new Walker. Old bastard.
Damn, talking cash trash tonight. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I hate it for. I mean, what do you want me to say? I hate it.
I know. And listen, we're not. I don't bring you on here because of that. We know. Listen, the bottom line is, and this just goes into last year. Dallas had before last year had won 3 straight 12-win seasons, but at the end of the day, we got to the point where it's about playoffs, right? It was always about playoffs.
Well, this is an interesting thing I want to bring up here because I think you and Mark may have slightly different views as Cowboy fans on your quarterback and him, winning the big games. I'm curious, your take, Brian, on Dak Prescott and all these 12-win seasons and yet not being able to win when it matters the most.
Yeah, you know my opinion. Mark and I have got into many battles regarding Dak. I root for Dak Prescott. I think there would be no better story than for him to finish his story, to my wrestling fans out there. But injury after injury, I am concerned for Dak. Now, I mean, he looks good, but I don't know, guys. You guys are more historians than I am, probably. Who was the last guy that was going into year 10 that had gotten to a Super Bowl for the first time? Has there been a quarterback? Maybe Doug Williams? I don't know. I mean, how many quarterbacks have been with one team?
Peyton Manning.
Who?
How old was Peyton Manning when he finally got his?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but that was multiple.
Elway got one late in his career.
Yeah, Elway
got 2 late in his career.
Yeah,
but
they changed the way they played football too. They went and
they got a running
Terrell
back.
Davis, and they went and
they got a running back.
Yeah, zone blocking and all that. So
that's the case to move up for Gentry then.
To get to your point, obviously,
that's what I'm worried about.
Critical than Mark. Mark, I didn't know this until he told me. He basically started his channel around Dak Prescott. So Mark has a special.
No.
You have a special.
You know what? Game time. Shut up, man.
I'm just saying.
Here's the thing.
You see what I did, Pizzle? You see what I did,
Situation like
see what I did?
Eagles,
your own son said that he's had it with him.
My son's an idiot.
Okay.
All right. He said,
"A house divided cannot stand."
Okay. Come on. No. Here's the only thing I say is I would love to see Dak Prescott in a situation like Jalen Hurts, where he only had to throw 21.
Oh, he's had that.
And has the best running back in football and a bunch of goons for defense. No, he's not had that situation.
You know, my issue is
2 good receivers.
You can't win a playoff game.
And the best.
You can't win a playoff game even at home.
God.
You know what my issue is? Why the hell are we, Mark? And this goes to you, and I can hear Pizzle. I want to hear an outside opinion of why. But why? I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask Mark. Why did we pay Dak Prescott $16 million and then we're not doing the things?
And do nothing to work with him.
What's that?
And then do nothing to help him.
Well, I'm not going to go that they've done nothing. He's had, I would say, 2 teams that were good enough. But I'm talking about right now where we stand now. Why are we paying a guy $60 million if we're going to let people go and now all of a sudden have a youth movement, but we don't want to lose? Is it because they don't want to have the post-Aikman, the Quincy Carter, Clint Sterner, Chad Hutchinson, all the dreck of quarterbacks that we had until we got lucky with Tony Romo, an undrafted free agent, right? You know what I mean?
I don't know how.
Why do we pay him that if we're not going to do with, like Pizzle's saying, to go all in?
You know why? Because Dak Prescott is the gift that keeps on giving. Because he keeps you relevant. If he stays healthy enough, he's going to get you a few wins, and they will constantly talk about him. Because here you can go ahead and talk about how great the Eagles are. They won 2 Super Bowls and been to 3 since 2017. Yet you can look at Kansas City that could have gotten a 3-peat. You looked at a historically great franchise with what New England did. And guess what? Dallas Cowboys is talked about more than all of them combined. And the reason is it's controversy. So when you want to talk about winning, in Jerry Jones's mind, being talked about in the same way I'm getting cussed out and laughed at in Philadelphia, he feeds on that shit.
Well, I would rather feed on
I would
just
think
winning
would be better.
Yeah, I know. It's just I still don't understand. Pizzle, why do you think we paid Dak $60 million? Why? Why do we pay Dak Prescott $60 million?
Because Jerry Jones, who is a probably prideful man, wants to be right. I mean, I will say this, like Philly 500's making fun of me because I got Russell Wilson at quarterback this year. Okay. And and I love a good trash talk. So I welcome that, that conversation. The Giants, whether I liked it or not, had to make a tough decision to just restart it. Right. That's a tough pill to swallow and move on from that. The Cowboys eventually have to swallow that pill, whether they like it or not. Okay. I think in the end, whether Dak Prescott is good or not, or gives the Cowboy fans what they want, it all comes down to Jerry Jones wanting to be right about Dak Prescott and wanting to justify the contract that he gave him. It all comes down to one man. I mean, your whole life, both you and Mark, are dictated by Jerry Jones. That's reality. That's facts.
Philly 500, I want your opinion. Why do we pay him $60 million if we're going to not attack it? Like Pistol said, I mean, I don't have a problem, right? We're always saying how great we are at drafting, and I understand we've had some mistakes. But all in all, we're one of the better teams in drafting. Here's the worst thing that can happen, Philly 500. This is the worst thing that can happen. You move on from Dak Prescott, right? Or you go all in with Dak. Go out and give your picks up. Go out and get all the studs. Go out and get Tyreek Hill. Go out and get Jeffrey Simmons. You could do it, and go all in. And you either win a Super Bowl to shut people up and to reset and go, okay, we got one that hasn't been 30 years, because that weight just mounts on your shoulders and it gets heavier and heavier, and poor Dak. But if it's true, it's a lot of weight on one man's shoulders. Instead of doing that, they nickel and dime and try and hit home runs in the draft. And normally, they're doing 1-year cheap deals in free agency. Just go all in, because if it fails, you're going to get a top 5 pick. And that's the only way you could truly get a next quarterback stud and an Arch Manning. But why do you think they paid him $60 million? Philly? Why?
I think if I had to guess, I would say it's because they're scared that if they let him go and he went somewhere else, how it's going to make them look. I
can see that.
I think Jerry's always. I mean, imagine if Dak goes to, I don't know, the Raiders and they win a Super Bowl. What's he going to say? But the problem is Dak. Dak is a great regular season quarterback. He puts up big numbers and stuff like that. But when he gets to the playoffs, he has come up really, really small. And I will agree that in recent years, they don't do enough. No. Listen, let me talk. Let me say this.
Because I can't think of one person when we get into the playoffs that we look and say, if it wasn't for the quarterback, because everybody else played great. We had a great running game. We had an offensive line. We get defensive ends that are literally tacking offensive linemen and getting 15-yard penalties.
You've won 12 games, 4 years in a row? You've won 12 games.
3 years.
3 years in a row. You have been a 1 seed with Dak. You have been a 2 seed. You can't even get out of the first round of the playoffs. We're not talking about him losing Super Bowls or NFC Championship games. He can't get, and you're going to tell me every single time they win 12 games, it's because Dak Prescott. Every time that we got to hear the Dak Prescott 9-3 record against the Eagles. But when he gets to the playoffs, it's not Dak's fault.
Bro.
At some point, it's Dak's fault, Mark.
Bro, they have actually
23-8 against the East.
Getting to the playoffs.
What are you talking about?
No, hold on.
Don't get overperformed.
Okay, here's the difference between the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. You go through, even right now after winning the Super Bowl, you look and say, how can we go ahead and help ourselves? Let's go ahead and get these deals done. Let's get some more money. Let's go ahead and make these deals that are team friendly. The Cowboys, they wait till the end of the whole offseason here. Okay, we go through training camp. We pay CeeDee Lamb $5 million more than we need to. And instead of being able to go out and get somebody else out there, what do we say? CeeDee Lamb, after breaking all the Cowboys wide receiver records for over 60 years, he had 10 touches a game. And we say, well, he's going to need to get like 13 to 15 touches. You can't win.
Yeah, but that's 1 year.
So now
he's been in the league 9 years.
Paid
Mark.
Dak
9 years.
Got to understand, he's not going to. He's going to have to win with less. How the fuck,
Brian?
Nobody wins with less. The Eagles have proven that. You've got to
Dak Prescott
the field on both sides of the freaking ball.
Yeah, but you act like they never gave him nothing. He had great offenses. There were years that you had very good offenses.
What are you talking about, bro?
See, this is the crazy. You just come on. This is crazy. This is why you don't win. This is why you don't win, Brian. You can't even hold your quarterback responsible for losing. Look, I'm not saying everything's on Dak. That's not the way it goes. But you cannot ignore that he does not play good in big games in the playoffs. You can't ignore it. And if he was an Eagle quarterback, if he was in New York, he would be getting killed and held responsible. Dallas, they just sweep it under the rug.
No,
you know what I like
in Dallas, they don't.
Oh, Dallas.
In Dallas,
Dak Prescott's got a 9. Oh, Dallas make excuses. 9-3 record against the Eagles. 9-3 record against the Eagles. But he doesn't win nothing.
Dallas fans and
you had some good
in 30 years.
The year he was a 1 seed and you couldn't win at home. He was a 2 seed. He couldn't win at home. Tony Romo's a choker. Tony Romo and Dak are the same guy. It's the same guy.
All right, if you say so. Momo. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine.
This is why Dallas deserves to lose.
I get it.
This is why.
About Dak Prescott.
Let me introduce Momo first.
Okay.
Keep signing Dak to a new contract. Give him another 5 years.
Okay.
First things first, let me introduce you.
What?
Zip it. Let me introduce you. We were going to have Louis T on. Louis T, he couldn't make Tuesday. So I didn't want to move everybody else. So I said, we're just going to go without a Washington Commander voice. But then I realized we had a voice, right, Mark? We had a channel member, Momo, with some interesting takes. So he's my channel member. I believe he's Mark's channel member. Momo, you're here representing the Washington.
What's up, Momo?
Yeah,
hey, what's up?
So
what's up, everybody?
So Momo, there you go. There's your introduction.
Okay, let me explain my take on Dak Prescott. Mark, we're friends. I'm about to say something, and you might not like it. The reason the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones and company gave him that big-ass contract because they had to. Because there was nobody behind him threatening him. So they were stuck in the hard place. Jerry didn't want to pay him that money. Jerry had no choice to pay him that money. In the press conference, what did Jerry say? You heard what he said. So that's why. That's the same reason Joe Flacco got that big contract from the Ravens in the Super Bowl. They had no other choice to pay him that money. That's the problem with the league today. There's nobody challenging the backups.
Well,
the starters. So you got weak B players, quarterbacks that the starter. Nobody wants to be challenged and for nothing anymore.
Well,
let's go for wide receivers and
Mark,
quarterback. Who was your backup?
He had no choice. Wait a minute. 2 of his last 4 years, he had 36 and 37.
I know. I'm not what I'm.
He won a road playoff game against.
This is not like he's Jameis Winston now.
I'm just saying, Mark. I'm just saying that they had no choice to pay him the money. Jerry did not want to pay him that money. You know that. Jerry even said it.
Not only did you pay him, you gave him a no trade clause.
Yeah.
That's what it's like baffling to me.
Let me say this. And Mark, I can't believe I'm literally going to be on your side on this. I can't believe I'm going to take your side on this.
The guy who loves Daniel Jones. Keep that in mind.
This is nuts. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I can't believe we'll do this, Mark. Who the hell? And I'm not talking about next year. I'm talking about last year. Who the hell did Dak Prescott have to throw to?
Thank you. That's what I
mean. Like, what weapons does Dak even have? That's what I'm saying. Like, what weapons did Dak have last year? Y'all had CeeDee Lamb, and that was it. Like, y'all are so thirsty and so offensive, just lacking in talent. Like
Yeah,
honestly,
they
like
are.
I hate to
Yeah.
say this, but like
I agree.
who the hell is Dak even got to throw the damn ball to?
Last year,
oh
I
my
agree.
God, I
Okay,
can't
I like
believe.
to
Let
interject
me
with
finish
that.
him off real quick because we
Yeah,
can
go ahead.
the year
Hey,
Yeah,
before.
tag in, Mark. Tag in,
hey.
Mark.
He said, "Finish him more." Hey.
Finish off what he's saying.
Mark
But
is
just go
weary
back to
right
the-
now. Come on, Mark. We need
No,
to
but
step
go
Balls.
back to the year before where CeeDee Lamb gets over 1,700 yards. The next guy we have is Brandon Cooks with 600.
Old man.
Okay. And we ended up having Tony Pollard as the be all end all who barely limped into 1,000 yards. We still didn't have any weapons that year. And we had an offensive line, although Tyron Smith, the last good year that he played was that year the offensive line was better, but we still didn't have shit with that on there.
But you still couldn't get out of the. You
I
still
think
couldn't
this is
get
what
out of
Billy,
the first
can,
round of playoffs.
let me say
Okay.
something about Dak real quick. I just wish people
Billy had to
face
bring
the
on
facts.
Dak Prescott.
And today's NFL, if you ain't throwing at least 300 yards a game, you're not very good. If you ain't catching 10 to 15 balls on average over 200 150 yards plus a game, because NFL you can't do nothing to the quarterback, can't do nothing to the wide receiver. So this NFL today, the yards are there. It doesn't matter who was playing. You can have an average and below average wide receivers and quarterbacks that does that. So I don't know why everybody wants to say that he didn't have no wide receivers.
Well,
No,
He
well,
don't.
and
He
the
don't,
first,
Bobby.
and
Who
the
is
first
it?
few, but what? The first 4 or 5 years in the league, he did. Okay,
And
he
no
had what,
defense.
37 touchdowns in 1 year. He had
That was
you
2021.
had Cooper, you had CD was all a rookie, you had Cedric Wilson. He
Yeah,
goes
one-
out, he throws 37 touchdowns, and then you lose in the first round of
We
playoffs.
literally going to say Cedric Wilson is a stud. The
Come
one
on.
year Cedric
For a
Wilson
third
had
at
the
the-
best
did he
year.
not-
Hold on, he can't even get on the field anymore, bro. He
Yeah,
had
but
one
that's
decent
not
year,
that.
and
That's
that
then.
was because of freaking Dak Prescott, 600 yards.
he did
Hey, Mark.
elevate.
Okay. So Dak is so good
Dak
that he
is
went
no
out and
good guy.
gave Cedric Wilson a career year, right? That's what you're saying.
Yes, he did.
But he can't win a home playoff game.
Okay.
Okay, I mean,
He won
we're not
one.
talking about Super Bowls. You're talking
He
about
won one.
round one in the playoffs.
He won one against
the Dallas
Seattle.
Cowboys literally had
Come on.
the
He
worst
won one.
separation in
Guys
football
never sniffed the
last
NFC
2 years.
Championship game.
Nah, he hasn't.
Oh my God!
Now, I got a question for you, Mark. Did Jerry really want Dak Prescott to be his starting quarterback today? Just be honest with yourself.
The proof's in the money. I don't think
I
Jerry's going to
I
give
would
that kind of
say
money.
Yes, because
Did
look
Jerry?
at what's out there? There ain't nobody else out there right now.
No, I'm just asking you a question because remember he's the one who wanted Tony Romo come out the booth and say and want him to come back.
He did not.
He
did not
did.
ask Tony Romo to come
Absolutely,
out
he did, Mark.
Oh, you
Mark,
were
come
full
on
of
now. You
shit,
know
man.
that's true.
He
I
did
love
not.
that.
That is
Yes,
no,
he did.
no,
Momo,
He's right.
you
He
said,
did.
did not ask.
Mark, you said Big Momo one will have your back. He's
Are you
stabbing you in the
kidding me?
back right now. What's
Now
going
you
on
just
here?
making shit up.
Mo's keeping it real.
All right, no, wait,
Commanders
hold up.
fans
Momo.
can't have nothing nice. They
Momo,
get
tell
one good season. Now all of a sudden they think they're the freaking Eagles.
And you
Momo,
think I'm
tell
the bad guy,
boys
Mark?
Who you have
Momo,
winning
You
the
think
division.
I'm the bad guy?
Momo, take your ass. Okay.
Momo can stay.
He's got to leave.
Hold
now.
up, hold up.
Look, you
Momo
see that?
stay.
Oh, I just got to go.
Oh, is he?
wait,
Oh,
no,
is he
I'm
staying?
I got to
Momo.
leave right now. See
Momo.
how the Commander fans are? Oh, there's no rivalry. We're superior. Hey, get out of here with that
Momo,
shit.
tell him what you think about the Eagles, Momo, since Philly loves
Okay,
you so
I'm gonna
much.
tell you. This is
Get
Philly.
ready, Philly, get ready.
You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it.
Okay.
They're all gonna
Here
be
we
in
go.
third place. Cowboys gonna be in second. Washington gonna be first. The reason Philly gonna go down because that running game ain't gonna be the same.
Oh,
People gonna figure y'all out, and that running game.
It's brilliant, isn't he?
I believe that Barkley is gonna have maybe 1,100 yards, close to 12.
Now,
That's gonna be
Yeah, look,
that's gonna be
I
a good.
understand
That's
why
gonna
you
be
say
up a good point, though.
that's gonna be an average season because there's too many games in the NFL today. So guess who got to throw the ball more? Jalen Hurts.
I would love that, and I think he can do it.
Jalen and
That's-
you really want Jalen Hurts to throw the ball? He's
Well, you just
he will
said-
be a turnover machine. I guarantee.
Why would he be a
More
turnover
Momo.
machine? No, see, you just said it earlier. You said this is a passing league. Everybody cares about the passing numbers, how many yards
but
you
Jalen Hurts
right?
ain't
But
that guy.
Jalen
He ain't
Hurts,
him.
Jalen Hurts don't play like that. Jalen Hurts, what does he do? He plays the same way
He's
all year. You go to the
runner.
playoffs.
He might be out for about 4 or 5 games.
How many turnovers did he have in the Super Bowl? How many turnovers did he have in his? Okay, well, I mean, we're talking about the Super Bowl. His 2 best games of his career were in the Super Bowl. How many come from behind games has the guy won? I mean, we can say, well, he doesn't have this passing number, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that. Dak puts up the passing numbers. Hurts wins games. They're 2 different things. You know, you look at Justin Herbert, right?
Bro.
3 interceptions all year. Oh, Justin Herbert, 3 interceptions, goes into a playoff game, throws 5. The difference between Jalen Hurts and all these other guys is Hurts plays playoff football all year long. And everybody gets to the playoffs and plays more like Hurts.
But here's the thing, Philly.
And that's the truth.
Philly, whatever you say, you're a fan, means fanatic. I get it. But end of the day, y'all just prepare yourself. Watch
Are you
TV
really
and say all my butt and all the other stuff you say on your podcast. Y'all gonna be in 3rd place this year.
3rd place. I'll take that. I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet any day of the week. This team, look, I agree with you in one aspect. I do agree with you. Barkley had a lot of carries. You can't expect him to go out and get 2,000 yards again. That's not going to happen.
What's that? Yeah, I mean, what's that?
I don't think it does happen.
Yeah, what's the stat?
That would be.
You know, like
it's never happened before.
Right. That's what I mean.
It's never happened before. No runner has ever had 2,000 yards twice in a year. That would be unprecedented. That would really drive Pizzle even crazier. But I don't think to say Barkley's done. Like, I think Barkley's got a good 2-3 years left. I mean, I'm expecting 1,400 yards from him, 1,500 yards.
Now, there's no way he's getting that kind.
Well, you're only talking a difference of 300 yards. You said 1,100. I'm saying 1,500.
I say 1,100. 1,100 is the average.
But here's the thing: the Eagles, what I think they've done with the running back they drafted last year, with bringing in A.J. Dillon, if he could stay healthy, and their plan is that you're going to see a running back by committee. They're going to draft another running back. And so I think some of the load's going to come off Barkley in that way. But I also think that it's still, he's so dynamic and he's so scary to the opposing defenses. That opens up the passing game. You're not talking about, that Dallas Cowboy wide receivers. You're talking about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. This offense is going to be able to move the ball. They're going to be able to score points. And I don't see that changing. Now, I agree. Barkley's not going to have 2,000 yards, maybe.
Well,
it's never been done before.
But my Washington team, everybody want to say, they got tape. F the tape, because he's going to be fine. He'll have some things where he might get more interceptions than he got last year. But end of the day, he's going to be fine. Like that. They're going to win at least 11 games next season. And Cowboys going to end up winning 10, and Philly going to win 8. That's how I think.
I think Eagles 1. I think that Washington 2. Dallas probably it's going to be close between them and Giants 3.
I'm not here to.
But I'll say this: you guys made a mistake, a big mistake, in my opinion, in the offseason. I really, you went out and you got Deebo Samuel,
right?
And I think you missed out. You needed DK Metcalf. That was the move that would have scared me with Washington. You get Metcalf with McLaurin. That's scary. So, Deebo Samuel as a receiver does not scare me.
Okay, but we don't know what the draft holds.
On the Commanders.
Yeah, that's true. I'm only talking about where we're at today.
Pizzle,
okay, so here's the thing.
Opinion on the Commanders.
Okay, here's my thing with the Commanders. In the draft, we need a lot of defensive tackles, defensive ends. We need some corner because our defense sucked. Right. They sucked. Philly put a 55 burger. Everybody keeps reminding me, and Game Time and everybody and all these podcasters wanted to jump down my throat about it. I don't care. That's past.
What's that? What are we jumping?
Because end of the day, Game Time and everybody.
He gave up 50 points to the Eagles.
55. Yes. But 50. Yes, in the past, Washington always split against the Eagles.
Here's the deal.
It's been a long time since the Eagles beat us twice in the season.
In a minute, but here, Momo, here's the problem with the Commanders, in my humble opinion. You cannot You free agent yourself to death. I'm looking at their draft picks. You don't have any. You got 5 draft picks in this draft.
Right. That's all we got.
5. That's it. Okay.
That's
you
right.
went out in free agency. Okay. I liked Frankie Louisville. I liked him. I think you possibly could go the other way. Everybody's, is sniffing, the Commanders. I believe they're not as good as you think. That's just my opinion. You have to be able to draft well. Just real quick, the reason why Dallas has fell off, in my opinion, even though they won 12 games, they weren't that good, is because they stopped drafting well and they got the injury bug. So you lost your depth, your draft picks, you hit on a couple, but Pizzle, what's your opinion of the Commanders? Because I don't think they're going to be as good.
I think that I need to see the Commanders again this season to prove that last season wasn't a fluke. Jaden Daniels, the term the sophomore slump is a real thing. Everyone came into this past season saying how great C.J. Stroud was, and I would say C.J. Stroud was not up to people's to what everyone said he was going to be. The Texans were never true Super Bowl contenders, and everybody loves Jaden Daniels all of a sudden. Oh, he's fantastic.
It's a new kid in the ball.
He's the new kid. Yeah, he's the new hot item. And I think the reality is that he's going to struggle because now you're going to have defensive coordinators in the league that has an offseason of tape on him in the National Football League, and he's going to have to overcome, he could hit the fastball. Now, can you hit the curveball? So I mean, that's what I see. That's what I see. The Washington. I think they're going to not catch anybody off guard. I think they caught some teams off guard last year, and I don't think they're going to sneak up on anybody this year.
I don't think they snuck up on anybody, to be quite frank with you.
I think they did.
How they sneak up on somebody?
Well, nobody. First of all, nobody believed in Dan Quinn. And I never said anything bad about Dan Quinn because Dan Quinn took the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl. But nobody legitimately thought that Dan Quinn was a great hire. He's not a sexy hire by any means, like a lot of
choice. Their first choice stayed in Detroit and now is in Chicago.
Exactly, like the guy from Detroit.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
Johnson. He's a hot ticket item, right? Mm-hmm. Names like that go around the league all the time. There's always somebody that right. comes up and it's the hot man. Well, Dan Quinn was not on that list of sexy picks, right? Jaden Daniels obviously was drafted high, but everyone thought that, he is a rookie, he could struggle. The reality was there was no tape on him. They turned over the roster tremendously last offseason. And Dan Quinn is a good coach, and they're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. Is what I'm saying. It's like there's going to be more respect that when teams see Washington Commanders on the schedule. It's just simple as that.
Okay. Can I comment on what you just said?
Sure.
Okay. Here's my take on it. Washington last year, they didn't sneak up on nobody because they was behind a lot of these games, and they made a lot of comebacks to win games. So the tape they keep saying is BS because did they have tape on these great or the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the game? No, yeah, but that doesn't mean you can stop them. Again. So I believe that because he had a lot of his X factor is too much. Not only can he run and throw the ball, he can see the field well. He has a great deep ball. He knows
180
he pick and choose. He
well.
make great decisions when he throwing the ball.
Momo,
period.
Would you not also agree in saying that there was a couple of games there that, wow, they really had no business winning that game, and somehow
they hadn't won that game.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Mo. Is like the National Football League. All of a sudden, it's an inches game. All of a sudden, you don't win that game this next season. So I think some of what the Washington Commanders just experienced was the lack of knowledge from other teams on personnel. Right. Was the fact that Dan Quinn actually is a good coach, but wasn't getting any respect, and the fact that you got a little lucky. And I think that's fair to say on
There's
all
always
three of those
luck
things.
in football.
Absolutely. And I would argue that there's certain teams out there that just haven't been getting a lot of luck lately. I know one, but okay. I mean,
I would just like to say something about the Hail Mary. Washington blew that game against the Chicago Bears. They was winning the game, and they allowed them to come back. The defense gave up.
You got.
Yeah, the defense gave up those touchdowns, those runs. So they threw a Hail Mary. Actually, Washington should never been in position for the Hail Mary.
Mark Combs, were we not 2 minutes away? Shout out Randy McIntyre. Weren't we not 2 minutes away of sweeping the Commanders? And it's well known that we were a horrible team last year.
Put Cooper Rush in the game.
Fucking Cooper Rush.
Okay, yeah.
So
that was already in the
warning you,
playoffs.
Momo,
They
you-
wasn't concerned with that,
Me
Mark.
is
Be
how
excited,
you
but
just got yourself up on this pedestal.
Mark don't want to talk about playoffs.
Oh, Lord.
we got to. Well, I will say this: they got in, and then they won, so it's good. But the ultimate prize is to win a Super Bowl, is it not? I think Pizzle agrees with me. I remember.
But and by
that's
the
all
way,
that
on
matters.
by the way, on Washington, because I know the draft is this weekend. Out of the 4 teams in this division, the one that will come away looking the worst, because there won't be really any draft news, is Washington. By the way,
Yeah,
I think the Giant fans, whoever we get, will like who we like. Cowboy fans, y'all will, and Eagles, even with them drafting late, they will probably like. Washington's going to come away with this like, well, we were kind of there, whatever. We were.
I mean,
so
you're
my
running
point
out of
being,
cap room, right? They had all.
yeah,
this
I mean,
room
that's what I'm
last
saying.
year,
Washington,
you know.
when they do the silly draft grades, I don't think Washington's going to grade well this weekend. But that's only because they're not in impactful positions. That's it.
I mean, and I agree. I don't know who said it. I think it was Philly. Again, I would say maybe 2 years ago I liked Debo, but Debo was fell off the.
I think that's
face of the
reverse
earth.
surprise.
You went and traded for a Laramie Tunsil who led the league in penalties for the offensive lineman. Laramie Tunsil was a below average player.
So are we talking about holding game time?
Dude, I'm just saying. Everybody likes to throw up how bad our positions are. Laramie Tunsil was considering retirement, right? To me, if you're considering retirement, you're freaking retired. I grant you that.
So, but here's the thing about holding in the NFL. Everybody holds in the NFL. It's the referee want to throw penalties on you, and you come a target.
Well,
it's holding on every down.
I hear what you're saying, but he was a shell of him. All I'm saying is, I get back to my original thing. There's no surprise why the Eagles have vaulted into being a juggernaut. Why? Because they've drafted well, and their draft picks are on the field playing. Okay, now
and they've taken advantage. They've taken advantage of a poor division. I'm sorry,
and then
it's
you
reality.
go out of Saquon, and then you take advantage of a poor division. Dallas is faltering, right, Mark? Because we haven't necessarily drafted the best. We still have all pros. It ain't like we're hitting over. We're hitting probably about 220 clip, and that's not bad, but it's not what we used to do. Eagles are hitting home runs right now. Everything they're doing, they're hitting extra base hits. I mean, they're hitting triples and doubles. It is what it is. You take your hat off to you. We got to do a better job drafting. Giants have drafted bad on the offensive line. I don't think that anybody knew Evan Neal wasn't going to be great. It's just the way it worked out.
Probably be great on another team.
Yeah, but I do believe the Giants. I believe the Giants should draft a quarterback. If Dot is available, they should take him.
Yeah, I agree, Mo. Thank you for saying something smart.
Yeah, and
I'll tell you this: if the Cowboys draft Genty, they'll finish above Washington. That's how much of an impact I think that would make for the Cowboys.
How about Hampton?
I do.
Yeah,
he's
all right.
I like Henderson at Ohio State.
I think Genty's the guy, though.
He is, but they're not getting him.
Game time. Remember, we had the conversation about Shador. I say he's going to be the 23rd pick because I think he's going
like
down.
A fly right now. He's dropping.
Who was the 23rd pick? Who's the 23rd pick?
Why is he dropping so much?
Because he's not great. Because his arm talent is
not
good.
Why 23rd pick? What was the why 23rd?
Yeah, why 23?
Mm-hmm. Because I don't think the teams on
who's 23rd?
They don't. I don't think they want that drama with his daddy.
No, I understand that, but what team are you thinking that he's going to go to?
I forget whoever the 23rd pick is. I think he's going to drop.
It's
are you talking about 21 to Steelers?
Yeah.
I want Dallas to take him.
I think he fits. I think he fits Pittsburgh.
No.
Oh, that would be so great if he went to the Cowboys and then they signed Deion as the head coach.
I already told everybody,
Momo. Give me that.
I already told everybody, Momo, that the Giants are going to trade back into the first round with the Steelers. The Steelers like a quarterback out of Ohio State, but you don't need to take him at 21. I think Will Howard may be the best quarterback in this draft. That's just my humble opinion.
Really?
I love Will Howard.
I like Dart.
Wow.
I like Dart.
Will Howard.
Wow.
Can I ask you a question?
He killed it.
Can y'all ask me this?
He killed it. What? Yeah, go ahead. You don't have to ask. Ask, baby. That's why you're here. Get in.
So the quarterback from Texas.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers.
Why is he high on everybody's draft?
He's not higher than anybody's list. He's going to be a third round at best. Everybody forgets he was a number one recruit coming out of high school. Quinn Ewers is a very high talent. Sometimes it don't work out in college. I don't know.
Could Shador fall out of the first?
No.
I think it's possible.
Talent.
I think it's possible.
See, I would love to be in a position where he's still on the board and the Eagles are sitting at 32, because somebody wants to get up and get a quarterback, and they'll overpay for a quarterback. At that point, I would consider moving out of the first round altogether if I was the Eagles.
Who needs a quarterback the first 10 picks? Doesn't Cleveland need one?
Cleveland, Giants,
Willie Vassar
Tennessee.
makes a statement. He goes, "Do you think the Niners and the Lions, if they were healthy, would Philly have gotten to a Super Bowl?" I kind of think so at this point.
The Eagles were beating Detroit. They were going to go in there and beat Detroit.
Niners, yeah. I mean, I think we could talk about this, before we got here, but I think the Niners are a shell of themselves. I think the Niners.
They missed their window.
I agree.
I mean,
they're in the rebuilding stage right now.
They did.
I don't agree with Philly's assessment that they're just the best team in the conference. Right now.
Who, the Eagles?
Yeah, I don't.
No, I disagree with that.
Literally, who's better in the conference than them right now?
Healthy Detroit, I think.
I think there's a lot of danger.
Detroit's defense is still suspect.
I mean, it's not like it's not close. Obviously,
listen, I'm not saying the Eagles are. I don't think the Eagles right now are as good as they were a year ago, but they're still. I don't think anybody has done enough to catch them yet. And that's saying that we're.
That's what's part of this week. That's what this week gets.
Right.
About.
I get it. We don't play football this Sunday. I totally get it. I think Washington. I thought if they would have gotten DK Metcalf, I think that would have been a lot scarier than Debo. I think Debo's a shell of his former self, and I think that Debo's better as a guy that moves around, not just as a receiver. But if you would have added DK Metcalf, which I thought was going to happen, I thought DK was going to Washington. I think Washington would have took a giant step, but I don't think any of these teams caught. And I'm not trying to be braggadocious. I'm just saying right now where we're at. No, I'm not.
Can I?
It's a good team we got.
Brian, can I say this real fast? Because I mentioned this. I just remember this because I was talking about how I fear the Cowboys a little bit this weekend because of what they may do, right? The desperate moves that they may make. Nobody in the world knew that Penix was going to be drafted by the Falcons last year.
Good point.
Right.
Good point.
And so Penix, that was the Falcons were kind of laying in the weeds, right? They go out and get Kirk Cousins. Everyone thinks, they're good at quarterback. And then all of a sudden here comes Penix. So my point being is some team is going to do something that nobody will see coming. You know what I mean?
You better hope it ain't enough.
And I worry that the Cowboys could be that team this draft, and maybe it's because you guys are a rival and I'm always keeping my eyes on my rivals. But that's where that was kind of the example.
That's because
it's something I thought about.
I know what it is, because when Pizzle looks at the division, he goes, the team that we have the best chance of beating is the Cowboys. That's it. But Brian, I will say this about the Eagles trade rumors. One that may be a little bit valid is that there were rumors coming out yesterday that the Eagles could be looking to trade that 32nd pick for an actual player on another team, a veteran player, somebody, of importance, like they kind of did with A.J. Brown. I don't know. I don't know, because I don't think it would be a lot of people. I would assume if I had to guess, it would be an edge rusher, right? I would think that's the kind of position you would do. But I don't think they would do it with like T.J. Watt. I don't think they're going to spend that kind of pick on a 31-year-old and then pay him all that money. I think the only guy I can think of, because I think it's somebody probably nobody knows of is available right now, but the only guy I can think of is Travon Walker from Jacksonville. That would be the only guy I can think of that I could see the Eagles pulling the trigger on that.
Georgia,
but we do have those rumors, huh?
He went to Georgia, didn't he?
Yeah,
I think he
of course.
Did. I think he did.
Yeah, of course.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's interesting because I often think of that. Like, what is that? Like Pizzle's saying, a move. You know, I just, Mark, I don't know. I mean, what move? I mean, I'm more like a Jeffrey Simmons, like a non-sexy type move. I would be more happy about, and that's, to me, that's sexy because you got to stop the run. You have to be able to stop the run in this league. So, Mark,
they got to get creative. Here's the bottom line: they
have assets. It's not like they can't do it.
I know they can do that, but here's the thing: the bottom line is we do need to. Kyle Pistol was 100% right. We need more weapons.
Wow.
Absolutely.
We're out here with just CeeDee Lamb. And looking at Miles Sanders, who's been in the league 6 years, after 4 years, typically running backs start going downhill, with the exception of Saquon. Okay, we've got aging running backs. I'm going to look at it and say, I don't know that we're in much better shape right now at running back than we were last year. And I feel like you're better off getting a running back in this draft and maybe making a trade for the wide receiver. You know, I would rather have somebody who's.
Would you like Tyreek Hill?
You know, Tyreek Hill is kind of old and he's got a lot of baggage. I mean, just a dude.
Baggage isn't.
I mean, 5 babies in 1 year.
In 1 year,
there. I mean, come on, what are you thinking?
Maybe the Giants will trade you Malik Neighbors.
Yeah,
they trade everybody else.
Thanks, Philly. I appreciate that.
That would be. I'd take that one.
He's a hell of a player. Hell of a player.
I think Neighbors wants to come to Washington because
you're
going to go back.
There we go.
Oh, sure.
Here we go.
You got Washington fans with visions of grandeur now.
So one player leaves the Giants, and everybody thinks the Giants just some garage sale.
Well, you know what it is. Like there's literally rumors out there that Thibodeau going to Philly if the Giants draft Abdul.
Hold on.
Hey,
you who just
I
said
didn't make it up.
that in each of the last 4 Super Bowls, a first-round pick of the
first round. No, it's the last 5 Super Bowls.
Last 5 Super Bowls
of the Giants.
The last 5 Super Bowls has had a first-round draft pick for the Giants.
But Pizzle, why did your team win that game?
Dude,
y'all be sitting pretty.
Oh, I watched Pizzle's video when he goes, "Yeah, F all you giant content creators."
Well, first of all, I don't even like. Okay, I would like Travis Hunter, but I don't care to have Cam Ward. I mean, I don't.
So you're not a Cam Ward guy. That's
I'm not
thing.
a Cam Ward guy, but I am. It's not a big deal, but I would like Travis Hunter. That would be cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the Giants would like to have him to replace the what we lost with Saquon. You know, someone like that, someone talented like that, and so. But obviously, he's probably going to go to the Browns, right?
So I have a question for you, Pizzle, because I'm confused about this. Why is the coach of the Giants still the head coach of the Giants? I have no idea.
Oh, Mo, if I had that answer, but I'd probably be a millionaire. But I don't have that. I struggle with that thought too. But I actually think Dable might be. I don't know. Dable obviously won Coach of the Year in 2022.
He's a good offensive mind.
I think he's a good coach. I think the issue is that I think there's some guys butting the heads up top.
I think the problem
and
is
I don't. He got tape on somebody in the front office.
Well, the GM.
No,
the GM.
I don't know. I don't know that the GM is any good.
Yeah, Joe
How
Shine.
did he keep his job? I mean,
I don't know.
Not only did they do bad and have a bad year, but that whole Barkley thing on inside the behind the scenes on the
Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks.
That looked so bad.
And the owner's like, "It's our highest selling jersey."
I agree. That's why I said at the start of this stream, Billy, that you want to talk about 2 seats that are on fire.
Yeah,
those 2 seats are on fire, and so the Giants. Brian brought up the fact that the Giants could trade back into the first and potentially get a quarterback. I agree with him. I think the Giants are going to be active on night 1 and 2 of the draft because they have to make something happen. I like what we did defensively in free agency. I think we're going to be better defensively, but we too need to have some offensive as well.
The problem that if I was a Giant fan, I would really struggle with is that you keep this GM And then you have to wonder where his intentions and where his head is, because let's face it, you think he's really worried about the draft picks they got 2 years from now, 3 years from now?
No,
he's worried and focused
right
on
now.
keeping his job. That's
100%.
all he cares about.
Even
so you
if
go
it's
out, you bring in
splash.
Russell Wilson, and what do? You win, what, 4 more games? Now you're taking yourself out of position where maybe you could get a top franchise quarterback if you don't get a guy this year. Mm-hmm. To me, you almost force yourself to have to come out of this draft with a quarterback, or you're screwed.
Well,
you're going to set your team back another 3-4 years.
But Phil, okay. And I'm not calling you a casual because I know you're a diehard Eagle, but I do not like the thought that you can only get a franchise quarterback in the top 5.
I get it. No,
I mean, they're quarterbacks. I mean, obviously they have Dak, who, he's not a first overall. But
I get it.
You can get a quarter. There is somebody potentially in this draft who's going to be taken in the 2nd round or 3rd round that may be a Pro Bowl NFL player. Like they're
agree
there.
With that. I agree with that, but the problem and the reason I say that isn't because you just have to get a guy in the top 3 or something like that. The reason I say it is because the track record of the Giants over the last 12 years have been so bad in who they valued in terms of quarterbacking and what they've done, that to me, you almost need like a can't miss pick in the top 100%. Of the draft. That's the reason I say it. Not because you're right. You look, Randall Cunningham, 2nd round pick, Jalen Hurts. I mean, how many picks have we seen quarterbacks later in the draft? Just question is, can the Giants make that pick? And is the coach focused on that? Hey, I'm going to get a guy in the 2nd round and develop him 2-3 years. Is that what he's focused on?
Well, see, this is why
focused on winning more games.
This is why I think the Shador thing's interesting, because if you draft Shador, then you get to make the claim of like, wait a minute, we got our guy. Give us more time. That's a fear. But
then you got this old quarterback that you didn't help out for this upcoming year.
100%.
And then you're the GM. Are you thinking, well, if I don't win a lot of games this year, it ain't going to matter what Shador does next year. I'm getting fired. So to me, I think the Giants should have just started over and got a GM in there that would have like given him time. But I do basically agree with what you're saying on you can find a quarterback at a certain time. The problem is I don't know that the Giants can find that guy.
I feel it. They have to prove it, right? I mean, some of Joe Shane's draft picks up until this point, I think the totality of them have not been great. If I'm just being honest, I think some of the best Giant players, including one that went to you, was a Dave Gettleman pick, right? I mean, so Dave Gettleman got Saquon Barkley. You know, Eagle fans can't talk crap to me about Dave Gettleman because clearly he got Saquon right, because Saquon's obviously a great player. So, I mean, like, the fact is that a lot of the best players that we have were Dave Gettleman picks.
And so nobody ever thought. Well, go ahead, Momo.
If you don't coach these players up, have people to coach players up, they're not going to do what they shouldn't, what they're expected to do. Mm-hmm. When there's expectation kills players, because you started reading your name in the press. You on Sports Center, you this. Expectation always kills very good players. So if these players can't be coached up,
Mo, you just said something that is a huge problem amongst fan bases in the National Football League. Okay. When you draft a player, and I'm actually saying that it's smart. When a player is drafted, for example, in the top 5, especially a quarterback, the expectation is so high that it almost can't even be met. It can't even be met. When you draft a guy like Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round, there is no huge expectation for him to be successful because he's not a top 5 pick. So that's another issue with a guy like, for example, Shador Sanders. If you draft him at 3, then the expectation is he better be a Patrick Mahomes, and I don't think he's going to be. He better and obviously Jaden Daniels lived up to that expectation, if not more last season. Wow. You know, and so the draft, that's one of the things that's awful about the draft, is the fact of when these guys are selected so high, the fan bases are just assume, oh, this guy's going to be a monster. And they forget These are 22-year-old kids, young
Yes.
people,
Yeah,
guys.
it's true.
To
It's true.
piggyback
And
what you just said,
True.
So you had Stroud last year meeting his expectation, and he was a freshman. And then
rookie.
you got Daniels. Now, whoever quarterback coming in the first round, it's gonna be the same thing. Oh, it's not gonna happen 3 years in a row.
Welcome
It's
to
not
getting
gonna
it.
happen.
Yeah.
It's a fluke.
No.
But theoretically,
And
you
that
would
CJ Stroud took a step back this year. FYI.
He did.
but theoretically, based on how the draft is run, you would think that Caleb Williams was going to have a better year than Jaden Daniels because the fact that he's the number one pick. But I would argue now that Jaden Daniels looked like a better quarterback than Caleb Williams last year. Now, some of that has to be what team they're on, but my point being is that's what's wrong with the NFL draft is these expectations that come with being selected at a certain spot. At the end of the day, when you are drafted third overall, it's no different than the guy. It should be no different than the guy who's third overall in the second round, right? Because at the end of the day, they're both coming to a brand new situation and coming out of college. These guys get these huge contracts. Cam Ward is being the number one pick and get a fat contract based on what he did in college, and he hasn't played. And he hasn't played one professional NFL down.
And Pistol, they're going to, if you're a number one pick, you're going to a bad team.
Yeah, a bad team. And honestly, I know there's some people that may, like if Shador falls, some people are going to make fun of him. But if he goes and lands in the 20s,
that's probably good for him.
That's fantastic for him.
It's fantastic.
Look at a guy like I don't want to say Bo Nix because but he was. My point being is, I think he landed in a better situation in Denver than let's say Chicago, right? I mean, he ended up with a better team. And the point being is like when you are drafted a little bit later in that first round, you're going to overall a playoff team.
Yeah,
Mahomes was not a top 5 draft pick. He got to land right there in a nice cushy spot in Kansas City with Andy Reid. And Mahomes may not be Mahomes in Jacksonville.
I agree.
And yes, right. Or he had time to get his shit together because they had a competent aging quarterback in Alex Smith. So, but yes, these guys get these expectations on. I mean, the reality is Cam Ward is going to have to try to change the Tennessee Titans immediately. And it's not fair to him.
So I was listening to Belichick spit out that he regret not picking up the Ravens quarterback in the draft because he passed him up. Lamar. I say, why are you talking about this now after the fact?
But I would even and Lamar that night that a lot of people gave him grief because he was falling. Lamar landed in a better situation.
Great situation.
He did. He landed with a great coach and a much better team. So,
better organization.
On draft night, if Shador starts falling, I know a lot of people will start giving him grief, but the reality is that's probably only going to be better for him in the long term.
Long term, yes.
Mm-hmm. I actually think Shador could be good. To me, what I wonder about Shador Sanders is how is he going to handle when things don't go well? How's he going to handle the pressure? Because look, I mean, his dad was the head coach. His dad comes off, for whatever. I like Deion too now that he's retired, but I mean, it comes off like he's almost like over controlling in some ways. How is Shador Sanders going to handle a situation like
the pressure he had?
That would be the question I have.
Well, his dad, who I love too, doesn't do him any favors when he gets his jersey retired for not really doing all that much.
Right.
I'm sorry. Like
Shador had a lot of. I think he did do the pressure he had at Colorado to win, and he made a couple comebacks in games, and all the pressure he had to put on the Sanders name because his daddy behind him, and then the press conference, and every time he wins, and every time he go out there, he had no blocking. He really had no wide receivers.
No question. No question.
I agree.
But I agree with you. I think he made Jackson State, and he made Colorado relevant again. There's no question. I don't know that warrants a jersey retirement, though. Travis Hunter.
Of course not.
Travis Hunter, I understand because the young man won a Heisman, but I don't know if that warrants for Shador. So that's what I'm saying is that, like, the pressure that Shador is going to face is based on pressure that has been laid upon him by his father and expectations of that.
So we all know that the young man, he could play the offense and defense. Apparently, some Giants person said they they welcome him. They draft him. They're going to have him go on both sides of the ball, much as that he wants. I don't believe that at all.
I don't either. No. Not full time. Not full time.
No, I don't believe it either.
All right, as we wrap this up, we'll let Mark talk. He's been sitting. He's falling asleep back there.
No, actually, there's all hell's kind of breaking loose with Micah Parsons right now.
Yeah, well, what's going on? I'm gonna share it a little bit.
I've been kind of going through this. Basically, he's going. He may not do everything as far as being in practice, but he knows he needs to be here because of learning the playbook, new coaches, and things like that. And it's kind of getting a little antsy about the contract and so on. And also went off and basically said the D-Law type shit won't be going on in this locker room. So there's a whole bunch of things in here that are going to be interesting.
Let me ask you something.
I love it.
Yeah, let me ask you something. We heard about how, Micah and Jerry Jones were going to share a suite at the Cotton Bowl,
And they did.
And they're going to talk. He wants a contract early.
Now he's pregnant.
And now, his buddy Jerry Jones didn't give him his contract. Why are they waiting? What are they waiting for? I told my theory.
So waiting for TJ Watt to get his deal, so it costs
stupid.
more?
I think he don't want to pay early. Because God forbid the player drops dead before the start of the season, and they don't want to have to pay money. Everybody laughs at that, but I swear that's what it is. There's no other.
You're gonna get Watt signed before him.
Having all that money and the whole offseason.
Don't get me wrong. It's not really going to affect the salary cap. We're going to save regardless. We're what, $38 million under the cap. We're going to get another 10, 15 at least after
all
that.
All this fuss for a specialty
shut up,
defense
Momo.
unit.
Momo,
Dude.
take your ashy ass out of here, okay? Take your ashy ass out of here. Freaking Commander fans finally have a winning season, and they oh geez, just shut up.
Listen, the Commanders have to draft better. You cannot win Super Bowls just picking up free agents. So until you start to draft better, and I don't think Dan Quinn, he's a good coordinator. I don't think he's a great coach. I know he got to a Super Bowl, but he also gave up the biggest lead ever to Tom Brady. So I don't know.
That's true. That's
you know what I
true.
mean? I don't think that was a great New England team.
I know that most Cowboy fans and Jerry Jones wanted him to be the head coach at one point.
If they would have done it. They waited, and he would have taken the Cowboy head coaching job. I could tell you that.
He would have took it.
Not over the Commanders. Actually, he's from the area.
Hey, game time.
Yes.
I'm gonna start some shit right now.
Go ahead, start it.
Jerry Jones was talking about two big trades today and how far they are with Micah. What if one of the big trades is trading Micah?
Oh, listen. I know people get mad at me. I know Ultra Cowboy. I know he's in Dallas. He's not in the chat right
to
now.
The Eagles. Okay.
Could you imagine?
If I can get the right
that
deal,
would be hilarious.
If I could get the right deal, there's no one player for me on my Cowboys team that.
What would you want for Parsons?
Okay. In fact,
theoretically, just
we've
an
had
argument.
too many crazy, things that have been said.
Trade his ass.
Okay, so
trade him to Momo's
let's go ahead and say that the Cowboys trade Micah Parsons to the Eagles for their first round pick.
I don't want that.
And what players are we going to try and get? AJ Brown?
He ain't getting AJ.
Huh?
I don't think
you want a defensive lineman. The one, what's his name? The really good one.
Jalen Carter?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know. I really don't know.
Jalen Carter, I ain't touching. I ain't trading him.
No, not at all. I don't know. That's a big hypothetical. I think what they do, honestly, Mark, I think they re-sign him, and he's a good player. He's going to continue to put up the stats, gentlemen.
The question is when will they pay him though?
He'll get paid in camp like they always do.
I just don't understand why they wait so long. I don't get it. But you're going to get what if TJ Watt signs
45
before him?
He's going to get 45.
Then he's going to get paid more.
I know.
I mean, it's crazy.
Jerry Jones is the idiot that said, you could only pay 5 or 6 players. And so we wait because we want to be sure that we pay the right ones.
But
that
Mark,
way we don't lose money. And it's like,
Mark,
how did you become rich?
But here's the thing about all of this with Micah Parsons.
There we go.
What I'm about to say, I mean this.
Here we go.
Michael Parsons should get every dime he gets. Don't take a hometown discount.
Well, the longer it stretches out, the more I say, screw you. That's what
you blame him? You're putting it on him?
No. Here's my thing.
Well, I will say this.
Hold on. He came to them and said, "Look, I don't have to be the highest paid player."
Yeah, bingo.
That's crazy.
He said
said
he don't have to be the highest paid. So what do we?
So what are we waiting for?
What are we waiting for?
He showed up training camp.
I agree with Mark.
Trying to be a leader and everything, and you're still kind of screwing him. At this point, I kind of said, "Oh, okay." Don't
so
take.
You were talking about both sides of your neck. That's what it sounds like.
I would think it would be you kind of have a ballpark of what he's going to make, right? After Myles Garrett.
We knew the CD contract months before. We knew what the number was, and they waited. Right. Don't ask me.
You know what the Dak Prescott one was going to be?
Well, it would have been.
I tell you what, the day Jalen Carter is eligible, it's happening that day. I'll tell you right now.
Exactly. That's the difference. I've been saying that for a couple years. The difference is in management. It is. I think you're seeing what was going on with the Giants is because of the unstable management, not the players necessarily. It's the management. It goes in the top
Mike is
down.
he's getting frustrated though.
That's what I said, that they needed to hurry up and get this thing done, get him happy, get him whole, get him there working out and everything else. He's kind of saying, take care of me right now.
Mark, maybe Jerry was taken back by the comment Michael said when he said, I got an agent to do that, when Jerry was trying to talk to him without his agent.
You mean Jerry breaking the rules?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe Jerry was taken back. Well, why do you have to go to your agent? No, that's how it's supposed to go.
The player.
You win Super Bowls from the top down. Okay, the players are the last pieces of the puzzle. You win Super Bowls the shit you do now, and what we're doing now is all this Mickey Mouse bullshit where you say one thing but do another. You're not signing your best player, right? You're not. That's the issue. That's the issue, people. But anyway,
let me say this about the Cowboys.
We're gonna wrap it up, get everybody's final thoughts, and get out of here.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna say about the Cowboys in a second.
Thanks, Randy.
Actually, the Cowboys done very well. They ain't making big splashes, but they doing pieces and pieces for their team, and that what scares me as a Washington fan.
They've gotten a lot of pieces that nobody's talking about, and good. Everybody,
they don't scare me at all.
Just zip it,
Good. Don't be scared.
Yeah, don't be scared.
They don't scare. I don't think you've done it. I mean, I think you've done a few things, but you haven't done anything to change the way I view them. I mean, you got no threats on offense. Nobody's scared of Miles Sanders. Nobody's scared of your passing game. Why didn't you go out and get DK Metcalf? Why did the Cowboys go get a DK Metcalf?
Well, they do have the number 112 pick. What if I told you that they're getting a Mecca Buka, or let's say we're getting a Matthew Golden?
I think that you could get a receiver, but you would have gotten DK Metcalf and then drafted Genty. Now you're tall. Now you got a team. Now I'm like, all right, they can score. Dallas does not scare me because I don't think you have any threats on offense.
Pretty early.
There's a lot that can.
No. Look, when I say it, you got to keep it in context.
The soup is just
right now. Given. I get it. It's early.
All right, let's start with Momo. Momo, final thoughts. Who's your Washington Commanders taking with your 5? Just give me your best pick, your first round pick. Who are you taking? Who you want?
At this point, I was not happy with the offseason. So at this point, anybody at this point, because
what do you think
I don't know what they're doing. I don't think, because I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing at this point. I really don't. I really
what
don't.
Do you think you need to be able to get close to the Eagles? Because
to get close to the Eagles, we need some defensive tackles.
Yeah, but then why would you let your defensive tackles go? That's what I don't understand.
I didn't understand why Fowler left.
Why didn't you even offer Fowler a contract? I
know. That's why I don't get
that for you.
Maybe they was at RFK Stadium smelling that toxic waste in
I'm
there.
just asking questions that
I don't know.
made no sense to me what they're doing this offseason. You would think after a season, if anybody could have went as far as they did and got shellacked, it still doesn't mean you should be very happy and you should build off of what you guys did last year. To me, it doesn't look like you build off of anything.
No, I agree. I agree 100%.
I'm not here to hammer you, but they haven't.
Now, you
done
ain't hammering
anything.
me. I agree with you, but we still gonna be first in the division despite that.
You're just saying that. Then
I thought today was
no. Actually, I believe that.
What's that, Mark?
I thought today was 422, not 420.
Today's right. He high right now.
He's smoking with Leo.
Leo, where Leo at? All right, Mark, go ahead, man. I mean, what do you think we're gonna do at 12? What do you think we're gonna do? I think
actually, here's the thing. I think the Cowboys have actually done good at setting themselves up to try and get the best player available. They've tried to bring in some offensive linemen. We've got 15 on the roster. Basically, it's going to be.
We picked up a lot of offensive linemen.
It's going to be a battle to see who we can actually keep on here and stuff. But I think they're just basically going to look for who's falling. You never know how the draft's going to set up. I agree with Cop Pizzle. They're the wild card. If they take Sador, I think all of a sudden the draft just changes tremendously. That now the man.
Why would you sign Dak? That's my thing. If we're going to take Shador Sanders, why do we?
Oh no! I'm saying if the Giants take him. That might be the panic where people are now moving up and everything else. That'll be the run on quarterback. It might be the run on edge rushers where everybody's worried about getting those. So you don't know what's going to be falling to you. It may end up being one of the offensive line because maybe Matthew Golden and McMillan are both gone. I honestly feel like the Cowboys are going to trade back.
That would be the best thing.
Try and get like Hampton and then be able to have some more picks or possibly a player to fill in a hole. So who knows?
I would say this, Mark. This is 1 year where they've done a decent enough job, not a tip in their hand. We've seen Eagles, Dallas Goedert, they jump ahead of Dallas. We've seen Buffalo Bills jump ahead of them to take Dalton Kincaid. We've seen it time and time again where they run their mouth, tipping their hand, and you see teams jump ahead of the Cowboys. I think they've done a pretty darn good job of keeping people guessing. So we'll see.
We are.
And it is what it is. Pizzle, you're up next. We'll save the Super Bowl champs for last. But what do you, like we talked about it, but what are you hoping that they do? And what do you think they're going to do?
I don't think they'll do Shador. I'll be shocked if Shador is the pick at 3. I think the safe thing for them to do is to take Carter. If you see a trade, I think they're backing up to take Jackson Dart. I would love the idea that you suggested of drafting Carter and then trying to sell
and get Dart or whoever
and get who. Yeah, Sanders is more appealing to me late in the first round than he would be at 3. If you give me Carter with Sanders, then now we're talking. So when they get done drafting at 3rd, I'm not going to bed just yet because I think there's still a possibility there on Thursday night. So that's kind of where my head's at.
Don't you have to go make some babies
after the draft, Mark? And by the way, if it does what Brian said, if I come out with a Carter and Dart, then I may be having my 3rd kid that night.
Wow.
Okay.
So, might be
breaking
twins.
News. Yeah, breaking news.
Preggers.
There you go.
Said he might go the Tariq Hill route.
Oh my God. Well, no, that would indicate that I don't see Pizzle doing that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, well, I'm a 60-minute man.
Oh God. All right. Philly 500. Again, I did do my mock the other day where I literally had every defensive end gone, defensive tackles, Nolan Smith's gone. You were looking at, when I did it, a Donovan Jackson, guard out of Ohio State, I thought was a possibility. But I ended up giving you, Momo, I thought your Washington Commanders made a mistake and took the safety out of South Carolina, Eamon Wari. I think he's going to probably be a bust. He's a workout warrior. He doesn't really know the position too well. I think Malachi Starks is the best safety. I have them taking Starks to 32, but you're saying what? You're thinking they're going to move up?
I think they're trading up. I actually think they're going to go way up.
Wow.
It's actually, I think they're going higher than I thought. because I think there's just so many teams that want to go back that I think that there's going to be something that's going to be able to get done. I think, look, if I had to guess what I would like Malachi Starks. I really would, because I think he could start day one. But I think that they want to try to go up and get an edge rusher. So I'm going to say they go up, hope somebody drops, and they're going to try to go way up and get James Pierce Jr. or somebody like that to get out of Boston College maybe. But I think that's what they would like to do. Me personally, I would like to see Malachi Starks.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up James Pierce, because that's the latest rumor. He is actually the number one talent on the ESPN's top 100 is James Pierce Jr. He had some off-the-field issues at the University of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Dallas is rumored to be hot and heavy for him.
Before the last college, he was projected to be a top 5 overall pick.
Yes. So
what were the do you know what the off-the-field issues were?
I don't.
Well, one of the issues was the fact that he wouldn't play when the coaches asked him to play. Like, he only would do so many snaps because I think he was worried about getting hurt.
That won't fly with us.
No, I mean, he's a pro now. So I mean, the idea is that he's a pro.
Yeah, right. I think they want somebody like that. You know, Walter Nolan's a guy to keep an eye on too. It really depends on what they feel about Jordan Davis.
Pierce to me would be such a typical Eagles move, because they take advantage of situations like that where everybody's saying, we're moving on from him, and then they say, well, there's value here. And so we're going into, like I said, the last college season, that guy was a top 5 draft pick, or at least ranked there. And as the season went on, it fell. That's such a typical Eagles move, at least how Howie's been doing it.
That's my number 2 guy, by the way. So I would not have a problem with it. But I agree. I think that's why I think they're going up. I think Howie's going to see the value in trading up while everybody wants to go back. And I think he's going to try to do it. So, I'll say James Pierce Jr. I'll throw that out there. Somehow he falls and the Eagles get him. But I'll take Malachi Starks. I think it might be a situation that's the perfect fit.
Like last year, where Howie was trying to get up to get Kenyon Mitchell, only to have Mitchell fall in your lap.
Well, I mean, nobody ever thought that the line was that you were going to have such a run on offensive linemen. I think that's also a big part of this thing, right? You've got to see how the draft falls. If edge rushers and stuff are coming off the board, then they may just say we're not going to be able to get up high enough. And then they just, go after a Malachi Starks or somebody like that. But I think if there's an edge rusher there, they're going for it.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, everybody, I think that was a spirited talk. We got off the rails when Philly brought up Dak. It is what it is. He couldn't help himself.
I had to do what I do.
I know. Listen, everybody, I appreciate it. I have all these men. These are, for my money, these are like the 3 best content creators that I like to watch. Philly 500.
Thank you, my man.
Pizzle and Mark
Holmes. There's
Momo, thank you so much for coming in here.
Hold up. I'm about to do my own, as you know.
You're going to do your own YouTube channel?
Oh, of course.
Well, listen, good luck with that. It's a dog-eat-dog world. I know it is. I've learned that my friends are all of a sudden I don't hear from people anymore. I don't know. It is what it is. Mark warned me about it. But listen, I wish you well. What's that?
But Mark says I hate everything, so haters will hate, I guess.
Listen, guys like you do well. So, maybe if you just hate, you'll have a
I don't hate. I just tell the truth.
So
people can't recognize the truth.
But I have all their channels pinned at the top. Again, these guys are the best at what they do. I'm
going to follow you, Pizzle.
I really am grateful to be able to host a show like this. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you all, and I will talk to you on the other side. Good night, everybody. See us.
Night. Thank you, guys.
Out, good people.